everybody. What's going on? My name's Dave McRae, coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. He's Tony Michael in Atlanta, Georgia. It is Monday, November the 8th, 2021, 6:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, we are watching the 1980s psychological horror classic, one of Stanley Kubrick's most famous, Jack Nicholson, The Shining. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live! The Shining is here. A lot of people have wanted to watch this wanted us to watch this over the years. There are a lot of people that really like this movie. There are a lot of people that don't like this movie. Let's educate those today. What a condescending, pretentious statement.
Hello. Hi, it's time for some highbrow horror. You've had your fill of nonsense slashers. It's time for some highbrow. Welcome to our classroom.
Tony, how are you?
Careful, Dave. You don't want to come across as a fraud now, do you?
Oh, I know. It's so weird. What a weird
inside joke.
Joke. What a weird thing. Maybe I'll make that public.
I really think you should do that. What I suggested you should do as your response, because I think that would be fucking hysterical.
Yeah, it would. I'm first going to reach out to. I'll send it to
Sean.
Yeah, and see what he has to say, because I think that's it's just funny. It's just like people are strange. People are strange.
Stupid. No, stupid.
Yes, that too. Yeah, 100%. It is The Shining tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is episode 131 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. And this is The Shining. Now, this, of course, let's give a bit of a breakdown. So this is based on Stephen King's 1977 novel, I think. The movie is very different from the book. For many years, Stephen King loathed this book. This film. I think he's come around a little bit, but certainly, he also did a TV movie version in the late 90s, which is more in line with the book. But this is directed by arguably one of the greatest filmmakers of all time in Stanley Kubrick,
my favorite.
Or Kubrick, depending. I say Kubrick. Some people say Kubrick. And Stanley Kubrick, look, he was. So what do we know about him as a filmmaker? Well, we definitely know that he was a hard ass. He was very precise, very particular, would do many takes over and over and over again. You either loved working with him or you hated working with him. He was somebody that was a student of not just film, but of storytelling and how to tell stories and how to utilize the different tools that a filmmaker has at their disposal in order to tell those stories through the lens. And that is why, for some people, I know if you're not up on Kubrick or you don't know a lot about him, you've heard people talk about him and talk about his attention to detail and how there are so many things in a Kubrick film that is just not by accident. Now, I think there's a little bit of, I think that's true, but I think there's a little bit of hyperbole in there as well. I mean, to insinuate that Kubrick never made a mistake or that every single micro little thing you see in there means something, I think is a little to the extreme. But the point of that is that he was known to craft his shots and craft his scenes where there are things in his scenes that appear inconsequential, that, to you as the viewer, but actually mean something on a subconscious level. He knew how to tap into that. He knew the art of cinematic language and symbolism. And that is why a lot of his movies are analyzed. Look, could you go to the, overboard and overanalyze and discover things that aren't there? And if Kubrick were alive today, he'd be like, no, that wasn't what I was doing at all. Absolutely. You can do that with a lot of filmmakers. I've watched movies analyzing Halloween, and I've heard John Carpenter go, yeah, no, that's not what I mean. So, I mean, you can overanalyze, but Kubrick was one of those, geniuses, one of the greats. And he was known for this. So before I turn it over to Tony here in a sec, as we watch the movie, there's different perspectives that you can tackle this movie on. This movie is one of the most analyzed, at least psychological horror films of all time. It is analyzed. There's multiple theories. It's very different from the book. There's multiple reasons for that, right down to the symbolism, even with, the fact that in the book, it's a red car that they're driving up to the hotel in. In the movie, it's a yellow car, and they pass by a red car on the side of the road in the movie that just got into an accident. And some people have speculated, and he was this deep. Like, this is how deep Kubrick would go, that it was him basically saying, fuck you to Stephen King, because it was the red car that you see that's all like crumpled up on the side of the road. Anyway, it's a whole thing. We'll get into it, but I just want to let you know that there's multiple different layers to this movie that we would be doing an injustice to it if we tried to tackle everything. So we kind of have to keep this fairly Cliff Notes version-y because we're watching the movie in real time. It's not something where Tony and I are actually just kind of analyzing and going over. That might be for another time. So, and because we can't stop the movie, we kind of have to keep it, we got to keep the flow going. But there are some theories and some things that I'm going to talk about that I will present to you here today. Some of them you might already know. Some of them have been out there for a long time. Some of them I agree with. Some of them I don't. That are fascinating because he does go to this length. He does go that deep. There's conspiracy theories around this, the moon landing and this and that. There's all different kinds of stuff. But he went that deep. It's not like people are just overanalyzing for the sake of overanalyzing. Kubrick was a genius at storytelling. And anyway, so we've been wanting to tell this for a while, or to watch this for a while, and it's really fun. And of course, Tony, as a photographer, is going to be looking at a lot of the filmmaking presentation of it, as well as I will too, as a filmmaker. But Tony, so you're tackling your thoughts from a different angle.
Yeah, I've always tackled The Shining and A Clockwork Orange, especially A Clockwork Orange. I've told people, look, you want to really be a good photographer, watch this movie and A Clockwork Orange on silent and just watch the framing of every shot, because you could literally pause frame by frame by frame.
Yeah.
And it's a photograph. It's a photograph.
Yeah.
And that's like, you get into like that with a lot, like, for example, this book, through a different lens, Stanley Kubrick photographs.
Amazing.
It's a big book, but it's a great book just to see like where he developed his skills as a photographer.
That's right. Because a lot of people don't know that that's how he started.
Exactly. He started off as a photographer and then became a filmmaker, and he just applied his skill sets as a photographer into filmmaking, which is really fucking hard to do because photography is art. There are certain aspects to photography to be a great photographer that you got to understand. You got to understand your rule of thirds. You got to understand your leading lines. You've got to understand how to utilize and get the most out of negative space. And Kubrick just fucking, especially in these two movies, the two that I'm referencing, A Clockwork Orange and The Shining, you see a lot of that. It's not done as like, oh, it's going to look cool. No, he's doing it deliberately because he's framing the shot that way,
right,
through the eyes of the lens of a photographer. That's and to do that, to be that detailed, like nowadays you couldn't do that shit because it would fucking take you forever to complete the movie. Yeah. And everything is like, you gotta go. I wish they would get back to some of that filmmaking. I know Hereditary did a little bit of that. As far as the layers of storytelling, but as far as the artistic vision and how you're presenting the story on frame, not a lot of people take that time out anymore like Kubrick did, especially in those two movies.
Well, and that's why it was such a compliment. There were a couple of people that had complimented myself and Bruce on It's Me, Billy. And again, it's a micro sort of example. I'm not claiming to be Stanley Kubrick. But what's really cool is that there were a few people that because we worked so hard to really craft our shots, craft the scenes, and really take our time and have each shot mean something. There's meaning in each shot and how you craft the lighting and the presentation, right? You're telling a story. And there were a few people that reached out to us and said, I got a little bit of Kubrick vibes from your film. In the certain ways that you would craft your shots, and like that one shot that's over the table, coming up to Sam, and it's like, we worked very hard. I mean, we spent 2.5 months on the shot list alone, and he was a pioneer of that, of really, like, every shot means something. He utilizes cinematic language so well. And for those of you that don't know what cinematic language is, well, there's two things. I mean, there's the language of cinema, which is, shots, angles, up, pan down, all that kind of stuff. But that's not what I'm talking about. When people generally talk about, or when filmmakers talk about cinematic language, they're talking about how the filmmakers communicate their story to you through their film. And a lot of it can be done with symbolism and different layers. And usually it evokes a feeling, and you're not quite sure how to feel about something, but it's because they're tapping into your subconscious, and it's there. And then once it's brought from your subconscious to your conscious mind, and you see it, you're like, oh fuck, oh my god, I knew there was, wow. And that's art. That's a real sort of art. And we played around with that in our film too.
Watch the scene in A Clockwork Orange with Malcolm McDowell when he's getting checked into prison for the very first time. Watch the scene in silence. Don't watch it with any audio, and just watch how everything is perfectly framed in that shot. From the moment Malcolm McDowell is standing there in front of the prison guard to the moment when they turn the camera to where they're leading out to when he's exiting, watch just how everything is lined up in the shot to the point to where they leave the room. You can't do that type of filmmaking.
No,
to have everything meticulously detailed like that. Like I said, if you pause everything, it looks like a photograph. Like everything's perfectly lined up.
That's a great analogy, because that's how, when you look at a lot of modern, and again, it depends on the genre, of course, and not every movie is like this, and some films do require, some scenes or some moments require, things to change up. But there's a lot of films today tend to shoot handheld on the Steadicam. There's a lot of sort of like, conversations being shot that way and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's for pacing, sometimes it's for time. You don't have time to, because, when you're shooting on sticks, which for those who don't know, in film, that means, on a tripod. When you're shooting on sticks, that takes time. You got to set that up, especially when you're dealing with, like Hollywood level shit. And it takes time to set a scene, craft a shot, craft the angles, craft the lighting. You could be setting up for 2.5 or 3 hours to shoot a scene that on film is like, a minute and a half. I mean, but when you do that, man, it looks beautiful and it means something. And Kubrick was a pioneer of that. And we wanted to bring that into It's Me, Billy. And thankfully some people noticed that, which is great. So let's start this. I'm paused. I am paused. I have the Warner Brothers logo up on the screen. I'm watching it off YouTube. I'm paused 3 seconds in.
Same.
All right. So this is 1980's The Shining, and we'll
What? How come you're not watching another Halloween movie, Dave? I want more Michael Myers.
I want more Michael Myers, Dave. Can you watch another Halloween movie? The crazy thing is, if we had decided to watch the original Halloween again tonight, we'd have 300 people in here. I don't listen. I love Halloween, but doing this YouTube channel has made me realize that I am not as sweaty as I thought I was. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and I say that with love. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, another good book too for those Kubrick fans, and you want to really just study his craft as far as like, the art he presented, is the Stanley Kubrick Archives. It's a small book. I don't really know much about him as far as like this. When you look at this opening shot, if you pause it, it's a photo.
Yeah, it is. Of course,
it's a beautiful photo that you want to hang up on your wall.
And this is a helicopter.
That's done intentionally.
Yeah. And I love, and what's great about
same
this.
Same thing here with the leading lines of the road and the yellow car. That is done. That's not just like, oh, we want a cool. No, he's doing that. He's framing it intentionally like that, utilizing that negative space of the little yellow car surrounded by this great landscape with the leading line of the road going up
isolation,
to the Overlook Hotel.
Loneliness.
It's same thing here. You look at
looks
at
like
the
a Bob
car
Ross
again.
painting.
Exactly. Like these shots are not like he's pulling it out his ass. These are methodical, planned, artistic shots, and he's the man.
Well, and
this is what you guys did with It's Me, Billy, a variation of that type of shot.
Right. Well, yeah, 100%. Every I can't again. And if you have the time to do that, if you are a filmmaker that has the time to take your time to craft your shot, you don't just point and shoot. Think about what you're shooting. What is in your scene? What is like, when you're shooting somebody or you're shooting a scenery or you're shooting a landscape, it has to matter. It's, you don't just point and shoot. It's what is in your scene and what value does it bring to the story that you're trying to tell. And what's great about this too is that, of course, this was long before drones. So you know that this was shot using a helicopter, right? They would have had at the bottom of a helicopter. It's so steady. It's so beautiful. It might have been a plane, but certainly it's, well,
it's definitely pre-drone.
It is, and I can't say that aerial helicopter shots back as far as the 80s were always this smooth, because they weren't. And this is great, and it's so beautiful. Now, for those of you that don't know, obviously the exteriors of the hotel are the what lodge? I forget the name of it now. But he actually built he built an exterior of the hotel as well, L Street Studios in England. And all the interiors are a soundstage. So the Overlook Hotel the interiors is not actually of this hotel. It's just this aerial shot. That's it, actually. This shot here, this is it. And when they get to the actual hotel, when he pulls up, that facade is actually on a soundstage in England.
Right.
This is real. You can go and visit that. There's 42 cars there, by the way, which is interesting. The interview. All right. Okay, so he's walking in here. They show the outside of the hotel soon. This is on the Steadicam, of course. It's beautiful. So this interior here, this is a soundstage. This is not a real hotel. But I totally believe this is an actual interior of some building.
Absolutely.
It's
the attention to detail that the crew put together with this is amazing.
It's phenomenal. What's really cool about this too is that when you look at the architecture of the hotel itself, this window here behind this guy shouldn't be there. There shouldn't be a window. Kubrick intentionally made the interiors of the hotel in reality not really match the exterior of the hotel. And so hallways and windows and things like that are in places where they shouldn't be. And that's intentional. That's not a faux pas. That's not by accident. That is to create this very sort of dreamlike disorientation, this kind of strange feeling to the picture, and to the environment.
I forget, where are they from originally?
I can't remember now. Of
course, we all know the history between Shelley and Jack.
Yeah.
No love lost there.
Now, one of the big theories, which I tend to, it's not a nice thing to say, but because it's very dark. But one of the theories in this film, and there's a lot of evidence for it, but it's evidence that it's not really on the nose, right? They're using cinematic language to give it to you. But once you see it, once you know it, it's definitely there. And I don't claim to be an authority on this theory, but I know a little bit about it anyway, which is that there's a theory that in reality, Tony is Jack, and Jack is actually sexually abusing Danny. And there's a lot of evidence that points in that direction. And I wouldn't put it past Kubrick to go that dark. The film goes incredibly dark, and there's a lot of evidence that tends to point to that. And it's fascinating, and I'll try to point it out to you as it comes along, because it's creepy.
I don't think, and this is not a diss at the young generation of actors out there today, it's just the culture they grew up in. I don't think any of them could handle working with him. Not the way he makes a movie.
Kubrick,
we live in such a sensitive culture now that I don't see people being able to handle it. Not 100 takes, you know what I mean, and pushing people to their breaking points. But that's how he was able to get the best out of the Jack's performance, Shelley's performance. It wouldn't his
style wouldn't. He'd be complaining. He'd be canceled.
He'd be a meanie.
Yeah. He'd be canceled.
Oh, he'd be canceled on Twitter big time.
Right. Like he wouldn't be able to. And I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not condoning, abuse or verbal abuse or anything like that. But I mean, we've come a long way, right? And there's a lot of the way that things were done that wouldn't fly today. A lot of labor laws that wouldn't allow it either. But everything in this shot, and again, it would be difficult to go through everything, but there's meaning. There's even a Carl Jung book, the psychologist. There's a book on his desk from Carl Jung, who's a psychologist, who was a student of Freud's, actually.
Those Freudians.
I know, but there's.
I love it. Not to get sidetracked, but I love it when Fraser and Niles go back and forth at each other
great.
About
Fucking
Freud.
Love it. Fucking love it.
Shit.
There's also a scene. I can't remember if it's coming up I think it's coming up. No, I think it's after that he goes home and he comes, where Jack Nicholson is in the lobby and he's reading a Playgirl, not a Playboy. He's reading a Playgirl magazine from the 70s, and some people have been able to actually identify the cover of that Playgirl. So what do you see in Playgirl? You don't see naked women, you see naked men. And in that Playgirl, it was a real one. And on the cover of that, there is a little blurb that says something to the effect of something to do with like when parents sleep with their children, or incest when parents sleep with their children. 100%. It's not made up. Now you can't see it because it's small, right? But if you do your research on it and you find that exact issue from that exact year, it's right there, plain as day. And it's a Playgirl. Why would there be a Playgirl in the lobby?
And not a Playboy.
And right. And why would he be reading the play? So why would it be in the lobby of the hotel? That's not by accident. And B,
done deliberately.
100%. And B, why would he be reading it? I wouldn't pick it up. It's not for me, right? So again, these are the different. Some people go, nah. It's just, but that just is because you don't understand Stanley Kubrick and the different era of filmmaking. I mean, you go back to Hitchcock, Kubrick, Cecil DeMille, and John Ford. I mean, it was just a different. Even although he's more pop culture-y, Spielberg does do it. Spielberg's more pop culture. He's more of a general movie-going audience kind of guy. But Spielberg and Kubrick were very good friends. And Kubrick entrusted Spielberg as the only person to direct AI, because that was going to be a Kubrick film. Yeah, before he died. So, and the only person he would have trusted, and there's a lot of creepy symbolism in that too. So there's just a different era, and it's not that filmmakers today don't understand that or don't implement that. They do. There's a lot of wonderfully layered films out there, but it's always cool to go back and watch one of the OGs because you're like, oh my God, it was so apparent, when you know what to look for. And again, these are just theories. I don't believe Kubrick has ever come out and stated or, at any point that yes, Jack was definitely abusing Danny, but that he wouldn't, even if that were true, he wouldn't do that because that defeats the point. Right? It defeats the point of the layers that he's adding to the character. there's that scene in this film where there's that guy in the dog suit who's giving head to the one of the people, right? It's like a vision that Shelley Duvall has, and it's in this dog suit, and it's like, now pay attention to this shot here, how Danny is leaning over. He's leaning over. We don't see, and it sounds crazy, but if you knew Kubrick, it means something. He's leaning over. Just keep that in mind, that shot in mind, because it's very similar to the guy in the bear suit leaning over and giving the other guy head. And I know it's dark, and I know a lot of people who are huge fans who've never heard of this theory might be like, no, but it's a big theory that's been out there for years, and there's a lot of evidence to point to it. But again, it's done under the radar on purpose.
I always laugh at the living room scene when she answers the phone. That's what my living room looks like with all the books stacked up.
Yeah.
It's just stacked with books.
That's
books
great.
stacked.
That's great. So Tony, of course, at face value, right? He's just an imaginary friend at face value, right? He's an imaginary friend, but that's not what Kubrick does. He doesn't deal. I mean, he doesn't deal with face value. I mean, he does, but he goes deeper than that. So who is Tony, and what does it mean? And what is the symbolism of this? We know that those two clocks above the elevator door there are very reminiscent of eyes, right? And pay attention to, okay, you see those two, not clocks, sorry, the dial of the elevator floors. Pay attention to that, because in a few moments we're going to see a bear pillow, and on the bear pillow that Danny is lying on, the bear eye is shaped like that. Here it is. It's coming up here. He's lying there with his pants off, which is a little strange.
Well, there's two women in a room. It'd be weird.
It's true.
Two...
But nonetheless,
nowadays it would be a lot more weird.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have
back then it was totally normal.
Right. But you have so she's talking to him, and listen to what she's saying. Can I see Tony? He lives in my mouth. It's creepy. Now look at the bear's eyes. See that? See how the shape of the bear's eyes.
I got distracted by the red mouth.
Sorry. Well, yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the red mouth. Absolutely. The red mouth and the bear's eyes, and
like little foreshadowing.
100%. Now, but the thing is that if you were to look up that bear, because that's a real pillow. If you were to look up that pillow when it was on the market in the early 80s to purchase, the eyes don't look like that. The eyes are round. So that was deliberately folded to look like that. And some of you who may be not familiar with Kubrick might be thinking, no, but this is what some filmmakers will do. This is cinematic language, being able to communicate to you through symbolism into your subconscious. And the way the bear is framed, the way that the bear, face is in the shot as well. Goofy on the wall over there. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Tony anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't want to talk about Tony.
I don't want to talk about my dad. Some people have said, too, that when Shelley Duvall sees the man in the bear costume, because this is a bear there, right? He's lying on a bear pillow. When Shelley Duvall sees the guy in the bear costume giving head to that, other guy, really what it is it's her subconscious coming to her conscious mind. She's always known about it. She's known about the abuse, but she's suppressed it. And this is it coming to the forefront. And she's like, it's almost like it's forcing her to look at what she has suppressed. And there's a lot of evidence for it. There's a lot of, it goes right. It's crazy. And there's other things in there too. It's not just, there's other layers, of course. There's the whole moon landing angle too, which is, crazy. Yeah. Send in those super chats, guys. I know a few did. I think a couple did come in. Maybe I can get to them. Maybe there's not too many. I think there's only 3 that came in. Okay. So I'll just quickly answer these. Schnip. I love that name. $4.99. Here's a toast to the great Jack Nicholson. Cherish the legends while they're still here. Could not agree more, Schnip. Could not agree more. Happy Sanjo sends in $5. Says, Dave, I absolutely love It's Me, Billy. Do you plan on getting more copies out to non-backers? I'd love possible. Well, we are going to be giving a few away in the next couple of weeks, so look out for that. But we don't have enough to start putting on for sale, though. And then Fast Forwards 289 says, $4.99. What's up, D&T? Hope you're all doing well. The Shining is one of my favorite movies of all time. We're doing great. It is an amazing film, no doubt about it.
Oh, they're in Boulder.
Boulder, Colorado. Okay.
Okay.
Poor Shelley Duvall. She's had a rough life.
Truth of the matter is, Tony's played by me.
That's right. Yeah, Tony is played by...
I was a 1-year-old little tyke, and, you know.
Yep. By the time you put him in nursing school, did he just no, he didn't like it much at first. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much. God, this movie is so layered. I mean, because we're watching it in real time, you know, I'm trying to keep this sort of easy to follow, because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself or behind, because we can't stop. But it's...
Boy, Shelley Duvall was a pro at smoking that cigarette without losing the ash.
I was just gonna say, can you imagine if they kept cutting back to her, and it's like it's longer and longer?
That's the most intense thing about this scene right now. Is that ash gonna fall or not?
Fall? Is it gonna fall? But can you imagine if they and now it's just like real? It's comical now that it's not falling.
It's still there.
It is.
What the fuck?
It is still there. It is still there. Yeah, Jason Voorhees says Room 237 is an interesting documentary. Yeah, very good. If you want to really understand this film, watch the documentary Room 237. It's really good. It goes through many different layers of this film. And I know that there are people out there that find this movie boring, and they like, I think it's boring, I don't watch it or whatever. And you know, again, it depends on what kind of a horror fan you are, you know, and this is a movie that is, you know, it's a slow burn, it's nuanced, as I always say. There's a lot of, it's a, you know, I hate to say this because it sounds so pretentious, and I don't mean it to sound this way, but it is a thinking, it's a highbrow film. You know, and sometimes, and then you can say, well, I like highbrow films. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that I just didn't like The Shining. You know, and it's like, well, maybe you just didn't understand The Shining.
No, that's not it.
Well, okay. Then you just didn't like The Shining. But it just, you know, it's not a...
I like Dr. Sleep.
Well, because it's a modern... It's different. It's different.
Well, I said that before we went live. I said that the attention span of the viewing audience today is less than a toddler. I mean, that's the reality, because when you look at how YouTube videos are cut together with the quick cut, you know, time lapses and all the vlogging and all that stuff like that, viewers have trained their eyes not to watch a scene for too long. Otherwise, you're going to lose their attention.
Well, listen,
especially the modern viewing audience. That's just the way it is nowadays.
100%.
It's not a bad or good thing. It's just that's what we've evolved to, which, you know, it is what it is.
I uploaded a video the other day talking about Halloween H2O. I think the video was like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. I had a comment from somebody say, you know, I really like you, but I kind of tune out after like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, well, that's your problem. And they're like, okay. Like, it's your problem, man. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck, you can't sit for 10 minutes. It's not my problem.
No, most people can't.
Now, what's really cool about this is remember the car that they were in, right? That little yellow bug, right? Or beetle or whatever it is, right? Now pay attention to the amount of luggage that they have. There's no way that look at all the luggage there. All that luggage would not have fit in that car. The magazine that he's reading, that's it. That's the Playgirl.
That's the Playgirl.
That's the Playgirl. And people have been able to find the actual issue online, and it's a Playgirl, not a Playboy. And on the cover, along the the left-hand side, where they have all different kinds of things, articles that are in it. One is incest when parents sleep with their children, and it's like fascinating. But yeah, that's a lot of luggage. It wouldn't have fit in there. So what does that mean? So what could Kubrick be trying to tell us there, right?
They when we think about a company also drive up their luggage too. That is possible. They
could have, but I think Kubrick would have been. I think we would have known that. I think it has more to do with what baggage there is, right? There's a lot of baggage, quote unquote, people who have a lot of baggage in their life, a lot of things in the closet, and because I think he's smart enough to go to that depth. So you see all this baggage, right? All this luggage, this baggage there, knowing that this family probably does have a lot, but yet it wasn't. How's that possible, right? I mean, in a literal sense, yeah, you could be right. That could have been it, but I tend to think there's probably a little more there. I think this kid's doing conventions now.
Seems like everybody's doing that nowadays.
Everybody's doing conventions now. Yeah. I'm going to start doing conventions and get a table and just sit by myself in the corner and start yelling obscenities at people.
You should.
Fuck you! Fuck you! They're the twins. The Gemini Twins. Hello, Danny. Of course, they don't talk here, but those twins, they're still alive today. I think I saw a photo of the two of them fairly recently. Maybe last year, maybe on the 40th anniversary of the movie or something. They're in their, I guess, their late 40s or whatever.
Yeah, they got to be a few years older than us.
Now, this scene here, what's really cool is that pay attention to, so Jack, he's checking out the women, of course. He's going to look
as Jack should.
Right. He's going to look to the right here. This is Danny's room. Above his, it's very fast, but above his bed there is a picture of two bears. There's a picture of two bears above his bedroom, and Jack is the only one that looks in, not Shelley Duvall. Again, to the average individual, they might be like, "Well, it doesn't mean anything." Nah, it doesn't mean anything if it's Bob Schloh, but when it's Stanley Kubrick and every shot is crafted. And every scene is again, because it's not based on it is based on the book, but it's so different from the book. You can't go, well, in the book, it doesn't match up. This maze, of course, is Hedge Maze was not in the book. It's fake. They built an exterior and a little bit of an interior. It's not nearly as big as you'd think. This facade of the hotel that was built. That was built for the movie. That's not the same hotel that you see in that aerial shot. What an amazing job. Holy fuck. Tremendous. I want to wear that jacket, those pants.
Which one?
The guy in the leather jacket. I'm going to start dressing like him.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
The color combination here too with the gold room is great because the red complementing the gold. They're two great color, and the green as well too, but primarily the red. Red will always complement gold in a photograph. So when you're thinking about color scheming things in a photo, you always want to complement colors, and the set, and I'm sure Kubrick played a hand in that
for sure.
What's going to pop, in a room that's gold or has a yellow tone to it, red.
Right.
Always red is always going to complement that.
That's
along
it.
with the green as well too, because you can see the green in the background on the tables.
Yeah.
Did you see Dr. Sleep yet?
No, not yet.
It was all right. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I
The
still gotta see
callback
it.
scenes that they did to the Overlook were really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't, Jack, but
Right.
just for what they were able to do, I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, I still got to see it.
Some parts of it, I was like, whatever.
Mhm. Fire exit. It's incredible. This is all a set. It's called shining. Do you shine, Danny? Do you? Unimpressive Media sends in £5 or €5. One of the two. I can't see my glasses. My great uncle worked on this film. His role was that of the head rigger. He owns the eagle statue seen in the interview scene. Amazing. Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool, man. What's your uncle's name? We'll look for his name in the credits.
Nope. I don't like lamb.
I know. Come along now. Watch your step. Yeah, there's so many, like, again, it's the kind of thing that Tony and I could, to really do justice to analyzing this movie, it has to be like a stop and start kind of thing. You know what I mean?
We'll
and
be
look
here
at this.
all night.
Yeah, exactly. So just trying to cliff notes it a little bit, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting. You can see the knives on the knives on the wall. When they sit down at the table too, you can really see the knives. Jim Kelly is his name. All right, well, we'll look for it. You said he was the head rigger, but was he the gaffer or key grip? I don't think head rigger is a title, so something. Maybe he was the key grip or gaffer or best boy, maybe. Well, it'll say in the credits. Does your uncle still work in the film industry? All these boxes, cornflakes. Yeah.
Tang.
Yeah,
Have that tang.
Yeah, the tang is prominent. Those who believe there's an angle of faking the moon landing conspiracy theory tend to point to the tang as possible evidence of that, because astronauts would drink tang in space. I don't particularly think that's a strong. I mean, I get it, but I don't.
Well, we drank a lot of tang at my grandparents' house.
Yes.
That's all they had.
Yes. Yeah. Evil Alex says, I don't think Jack abused his son. I don't know. I think there's enough strong circumstantial evidence through the use of cinematic language that I think it's a possibility. Not overtly, not at face value, not if you watch the movie at face value and just take the movie for what it is. No, you wouldn't get that at all. But when you start sort of unwrapping the layers a bit and looking at certain things, you realize, there might be something else that's being said here. And
True.
Some of those films are the best, and they're usually in the realm of psychological horror movies and things like that, because that's the idea, is that you write a story when you understand mythology or religion or history. You can use symbols and a lot of different storytelling techniques to really affect your audience, and you don't know you're being affected and you're not supposed to know. It's supposed to make you feel something, but you're not quite sure why you're feeling that way. And I don't profess to be an expert. I just have learned a lot over the years. Rob Anger Collective Learning did a capro with vids in this film. He's on YouTube and his own site. Thank you, Jay Beach, to listen. Thank you. Yeah, I've never heard of that guy, but okay, thank you. He says, no, unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore. A head rigger is in an older production role today. He was a supervisor for constructing sets. He also worked in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Very cool. Head rigger. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So he was part of the set department. Okay. Yeah. Head rigger then would make. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, I guess he'd be kind of an older guy now. This is such a great scene too, because you look to not this shot. It's when they go to the wide shot, the master. But you see all these knives hanging on the wall behind them, and when we look at that shot and you see those knives, I hope they go back to it. It always makes me feel uncomfortable because the conversation is a little strange, and it's just the way it's shot, the way both are acting, and you see all these fucking large knives hanging on the wall. That is deliberate. That is there to make you feel uncomfortable, to make you notice that. It's innocuous. It's not like he stands up, walks over, grabs a knife, and chops the kid's head off. No, there's just these large knives ominously hanging on the wall very close to where their conversation is happening. And again, that's a terrific thing to and of course one of the knives hanging there is the knife that Shelley Duvall ends up taking out, and is the knife that they walk around with in the movie. It's hanging there. They haven't cut back to it yet. I guess I missed it. I don't know if they are going to cut back to the master. If not, if you're following along, then you know what I'm talking about. Talking about it. See those knives there? I mean, it's just they're all gigantic knives. The furthest one on the left, I believe, is the one that Shelley Duvall ends up picking up. And I tell you, the first time I watched this movie years and years ago, and every time I watch this movie, I feel uncomfortable sitting watching this shot here. It's like, fuck. There's a lot of danger just sitting on the wall right there. And there's a child there too, This guy gets it too in the end, with the axe.
The axe, yeah.
Woo. Love the way that Danny's just looking at him. Like he's truly captivated by what he's saying. It's such a good performance from the little kid. Yeah, Jay Beach. Yeah, I don't think it's a body. I think if it was a body, Kubrick would have been more on the nose with it. I think it would have looked like a body. I think the fact that we all have to go, I don't know. I'm not really. I think it's probably, to be honest with you, it's probably something that helps to pump the blood out. I mean, maybe not, but I don't think it looks like a body at all. And I think that if it was supposed to be a body, I don't think Kubrick would make it overt, like, whoa, look at that body that just flew out of the elevator. I don't think it would be like that, but I think it would look more like a body than it does. So I don't know. I'm sort of, I don't know how I feel about that one. A month later. So we fast forward a month later. Look at that beautiful shot. You're right, Tony. It's like a photograph.
Pretty much. This whole movie is frame by frame.
Oh, look at this set. I would love... Well, and that's what was so great about shooting It's Me, Billy. I know, Dave. He's dead. Start talking about It's Me, Billy again. Hey, it's the last movie I did. But it's relevant. That's what was so cool about shooting It's Me, Billy, was we were shooting in this house, even though it wasn't a set. It was like a set because it was so big. And we slept there. Like, it was like shooting on a soundstage. It was so cool. I can only imagine what it would be like to actually like shoot it's just so fucking amazing. Apparently this shot here was the first time that we had ever had a Steadicam shot this low to the ground. Interesting tidbit. Anyway, sorry, Tony, you were going to say?
I wasn't saying anything. I was just,
Oh.
I always like this scene with the sound going in, going out of
Yes.
the tricycle that he's on. Another deliberate thing with sound design.
Yep. How he's just riding around. It's cool.
Are you kidding me? If I was a kid in a place, if that was legit and I was a kid in a place like that, dude, I'd be like, yeah. Especially back in the 80s, I'd be freaking playing Commandos and all sorts of.
Do you know how creepy
shit.
hotels, like how creepy a hotel like that would be if you were by yourself? Like, and there's nothing creepy happening. It's just the fact that it's so big. In general, yeah.
Yeah. We used to, as kids, when we were really little kids, we used to sneak into the high school. And because we were little, and I'm talking like we're no more than like 8 years old. And because we lived like in walking distance, it was like the high school was like set behind our townhouse. Like we literally could walk to it. Like it's a football field away, and go through the fence. So in the summertime, we used to sneak in there and walk around, but the high school was just so big in comparisons to what we were used to with grammar school, that there's times that when you're walking around different hallways and getting lost in this big ass school, it can be creepy as a kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I get what you're saying with regards to the hotel. And if you were a child in a place that big, there are certain elements that, you might do like a little double take, your mind starts to wander around. Is there something there? Totally get that.
Notice how this entire scene we're watching Jack through the mirror. Now it's cut. Now we'll see him not in the mirror, but up until this point we've been watching him through the mirror. And again, the symbolism of what mirrors represent, and the other self, the shadow self, the other part of you. There's a lot of things to take away from that. There's a lot of use of mirrors in this movie too.
Bacon in his eggs.
He's got bacon in his eggs.
Never seen anybody dunk. I've seen people dunk bread in their eggs, but I've never seen anyone dunk their bacon in eggs.
I think I might have one time.
Yolk, I should say.
I don't know. Yep.
Again, everything is just placed perfect. Everything is framed perfect. The pack of cigarettes is perfect.
Yeah. Typewriters,
everything's center framed. And then there's Jack in that negative space in the lower right. You know what I mean? Like that's Kubrick's photography.
Yep. What an amazing set. Jesus. And it's funny too, because where the maze is situated, if you look at the aerial shot when we first arrive at the hotel, there is no maze, and we should be able to see the maze from that shot. And again, that's not by accident. I mean, that's Kubrick knows this, and he loves to play with the disorientation of that kind of thing, especially in a movie like this where confusion, disorientation is kind of all part of it. What's real, what isn't, what's reality, what isn't.
Or is it that only they can see it?
Right.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. Because someone at the hotel does explain.
They point right.
It actually would have been better if Kubrick had left that part out. Thinking about it now, that only they could see the maze.
Yeah,
that would have been a nice approach to it instead of having someone explain that to them.
That would have been interesting.
You know what I mean? That only Jack and his family see it.
Yeah, and of course, it would take too long to. I mean, just look up the symbolism of mazes and labyrinths, and you know what I mean. Like, I mean, come on, I mean, that's really tapping into the subconscious mind, and the whole. I mean, Jesus, and then there's a small one here, and I believe he looks over, and does he not see them small?
Yeah.
There's, I mean.
Which I think is an actual real shot, because that's one that everybody has tried to figure out. How the fuck did they do that?
It's composited. Yeah. It's the only shot that is real is sort of where they are, that center part. And then they just kind of composited around it. Of course, Jack is looming ominously over them, watching them with a little grin. Like it's like this is the representation almost of his mind, you know, and they're there and he's, yeah, it's a whole fucking, man, it's fascinating. It's great stuff. Tuesday, or some people like to say Tuesday. For those of you that say Tuesday, stop. There is no CH. It's Tuesday. For those of you that say scheduled, stop. It's scheduled. Harry Hagen, my man, sends in $5, says Kubrick was from my hometown of the Bronx. He was said to have an above average IQ, but a poor student. Al Pacino, also from the Bronx, smart, but poor student. I'm not from the Bronx. I don't know what my IQ is. I was an average student. I was like a C-B student.
Yeah, I was an average student, but my IQ was all right. But like when it came to like photography and art and things like this, like everything just clicks.
Yeah, well, some people, yeah.
It just, I don't know. Like it just, like I don't need to be taught it. I didn't really go to school for it, other than taking some, classes here and there in high school and in junior high.
Right.
Primarily more classes in video than photography. Just photography really just, like no pun, it clicked, like from the get-go. Like I just, for whatever reason, I got it.
That's it.
And I get that all the time. Like, people ask me like, well, what lens and what camera do you use for all your horror pictures? I don't. It's this. It's just the point and shoot by Fujifilm, and it's a fixed camera or a fixed lens. I can't take it off.
Yeah.
It's not a camera. It's how you compose your shot.
That's
it's how you effectively use the lighting in your shot that's going to make a great photograph.
There 100%. Here's room 237. Danny's getting off his tricycle now, and he's approaching it. Now, again, those that buy into the moon landing conspiracy theory, and listen, I think there's some of that theory that is compelling. It all depends on what you want to believe, I guess. But it's interesting, it's fun. But the real reason why Kubrick, because in the book, I think it's like 217. I think in the book, and the actual hotel that is the exterior of this film has a room 217. And they didn't want Kubrick using 217 because they were afraid that it would deter people from wanting to be there as a guest. So he chose 237, which in the real hotel does not exist. Should have chose 187. Yeah, that might have been too on the nose maybe, but yeah.
Way too on the nose.
I would have done it. That's a Dave McRae kind of move. I would have done something like that probably. Although 187, I don't think they go up that high.
It's a cop code.
For for murder. Yeah.
All work and no play makes Jack a dope boy.
Wouldn't that be creepy though? Like imagine if you walked over to see what your spouse was working on and you see you see this stack of paper and it's the same fucking thing. How creepy would that be? Like the mental and psychological breakdown.
I would look at my spouse and be like, you suck.
Dude, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh my God, you sat here and like what level of... It's creepy, man. I love this scene though.
I'd be like,
Wendy,
you got more issues than Rolling Stones, man.
Make me a fucking sandwich, Wendy. Whatever he says, it's so funny. Just his performance, so great. Oh, come on, hon. Don't be so grouchy. I'm not being grouchy. I just want to finish my work. Okay. I understand. Sure, Jack. I'll be back later with a couple of sandwiches for you. Okay? Sure. And maybe you'll let me read something then. Space. Wendy, let me explain something to you. Whenever you come in here and interrupt me, you're breaking my concentration. You're distracting me. And I take the time to get back to work with it. I love it. I love it. He's starting to lose it. He's having that mental breakdown. Of course, we do know too that there's the Indian burial ground sort of suggestion as well. It's part of it, but which is earlier in the film. There's a lot of like just different paintings that are in this hotel, and just so different stuff.
I got a weird feeling based on the shots here that we're seeing. I don't think neither one of the actors were staring at the actor.
You don't think so?
No, because there's so much hatred towards the actors themselves. Now, obviously they're there. Got a weird feeling is because you don't see the way if you watch how those shots are framed, you don't really see much of an over the shoulder.
Nope.
It's more fixed on the actors themselves.
Right.
It's a response.
Right.
Got a weird feeling.
You could be right.
Got a weird feeling that neither one of them were really there.
You could be right.
Sequence.
You could be right. Could be right. I love the shot though of all the snow and everything, and that
I've heard brutal stories about the snow and just how it really was not fun, even though it looks like fun for us.
Yeah,
and the snow that they made for the movie.
I was gonna say
it's not real snow.
No, it's not real snow because it's a soundstage. It's set. Well, it's not a sound. It's outside, obviously, but it's still a set. Now
that's me. That's me every Monday morning.
Well,
that's me every Monday morning.
This photo here, there was a photo taken. Well, it's not a photo, actually.
Meme. It became the ultimate meme for just about anything.
It did.
It really has.
There's
Monday morning mood.
There's a picture of me.
Oh shit.
There's a picture of me on it's my Instagram profile pic. It was taken during the It's Me Billy camera tests. And
again, negative space. Sorry, dude. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
Like just that utilization of rule of thirds. If you were to draw this, if you were to draw a tic-tac-toe, that's what rule of third means. And you see where Jack is placed in the shot. He's perfectly placed in the crosshairs of the top right corner of the tic-tac-toe, but utilizing the lower depth of that negative space. I mean, that's just,
that's it.
Fucking great filmmaking that you just don't see anymore.
I was just going to say that my Instagram profile picture, a lot of people have already seen it because they compare that picture of Jack who's staring out the window and he's starting to sort of his mental decay as well into progression. It wasn't a photo. It's a screen grab from the Arri Alexa during our camera test. And I have the same look on not the same, but it's similar. Those of you who follow me on social media probably know the one I'm talking about. And I've gotten comparisons of that. And I'm like, yeah, I can totally see that. It's my Jack Nicholson, I'm going to lose it pick. Happy Sanjo sends in $5, says, how do you and Tony feel about Stephen King's attitude towards this film? I find it unprofessional and a little petty. Do you think there's more to it? No, I think it's Stephen King's book and Kubrick decided to change it. So I would have been like, fuck you too. I'm not saying, I think he's come around, but if I was in King's position, I would have been like, well, it's kind of changing my book. Kubrick had his reasons and they obviously didn't see eye to eye, but I don't think it, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I can empathize with Stephen King. I've never read the book, but there is a remake of The Shining in the late 90s, 97 or 98. It was a TV movie that was to the book. So you can check that out.
There is a photo I did recently of a law firm photo shoot, and the way the cops are positioned with the cabinets, where the cop is in the background and the guy's in the foreground talking on his ham radio to Wendy. I actually was inspired by that shot in The Shining to utilize in a law firm shoot, set up the same way. I had the girl carrying the file in the foreground and a girl in the background opening up, looking through the files. And it was because, and I explained that to them in the shoot during the shoot this year. I was like, I'm stealing a moment from The Shining that I remembered because they had their hallway pretty much set up identical for me to kind of recreate that shot.
very cool.
That's what I mean by like how I interpret a lot of my photography
Yep.
skills into what I learned by watching Kubrick's movies and how to frame a shot.
Right.
That's really like honestly the best. Even this here, Danny in the foreground, the girls in the background.
This
the
is a great
line,
moment. Come
everything
and play
is
with us,
perfectly
Danny.
lined up symmetrically
Yeah.
in the shot. That's how you can develop your eye as a photographer and a great filmmaker.
Well, the depth of field is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, everything's perfectly lined up.
Yeah. You seeing
Again,
the murders,
the red and gold and the blue,
yeah,
complementary colors.
yeah, and then we're gonna get the elevator soon. Yeah, this is, and he's, yeah.
I should start a Kickstarter, and you guys help me fund a Shining photo shoot because we got a hotel in Georgia that I could do it in. That would cost a buttload of money to do, like a buttload.
Hey, people want it, you pay for it.
Buttload of money because I got to get the kid, I got to get the twins, there's a lot of casting, a lot of stuff.
People don't understand how expensive, how much work goes into it. It's gimme.
Rent the hotel, to let to do it,
but yeah, this is, yeah. Anyway, I could keep going into the depth. It's just difficult to go. Yeah, it's a lot of yeah, it's just like pictures in a book, Danny.
I bet you it would probably come to do an actual Shining shoot there. It'd probably cost me close to what it would cost you to do It's Me, Billy.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Well, because I'm renting out the hotel, you know what I mean, to shoot in all different areas of the hotel.
That's it.
Yeah, think about the amount of makeup and work that I would need to do to create bloody scenes, non-bloody scenes.
Yep.
Like I said, you're hiring people at this point, kid actors.
So here's something to pay attention to too. This TV has no cord. So there's no cord attached to this anywhere. It's just the TV.
It's a figment of their imagination.
No, I don't. But I do think it's a representation again of what is. I think it's real, but I think there's it's surreal. You know what I mean? And that's what Kubrick is playing a lot with here in this film. Is sort of that dance between reality. Now that there is no cord, this TV is just on, but it's not plugged in anywhere, and is that deliberate? You bet your ass it is. And because now we're starting to get into more of a surrealist sort of, there's a surreal feeling to the entire picture anyway, really. There's this ominous kind of weird feeling to this movie. And it just starts to get weirder and weirder as they go along. But yeah, and I think they're watching a movie. I forget what it's called. It's got the movie has the number 42 in it though. I think it's called something 42, which is interesting because there's also apparently some people have counted those cars in that aerial shot in the parking lot. There's 42 cars.
That people just
42 on a shirt.
Dedicate their time to doing shit like that.
It's incredible.
Serious.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It is. So this is when he's walking into his dad's and this is such a weird, uncomfortable, weird thing. Some people have speculated that or theorized, I should say, and it's quite fascinating that the moment that Jack walks into the bedroom 237 and has an experience with the old lady in the bathtub, have theorized that, and there's evidence for it that, and again, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We see Jack in the mirror here, right? So we're seeing almost his other self, that's not by accident. I mean, that's the mirror represents a lot. There's a lot of symbolism with mirrors, and the average movie fan would know that. Mirrors are used all the time to represent the other self, the other half, another version of you, windows, mirrors, eyes. But yeah, that scene that he walks into room 237 and he sees the lady in the bathtub and everything. It's when she opens the curtain with her hand, it's very similar to the way a few moments ago here that Jack gestured to Danny to come to him. So some people have theorized that he's actually asleep when he's not really in room 237. He's actually gone to sleep to wear off the alcohol, and he's dreaming this, and it's his subconscious. He's dreaming of himself. Yeah, I got to read that again. the many, and I know to the average person watching us right now, it might be like, I don't know, but I implore you to do your own research and really dive deep if you have an interest to do that. And what people only take this stuff seriously when it comes to a filmmaker like Kubrick, because he's known to do that. You know, I mean, we wouldn't be doing this if it was like fucking Danny McBride, you know,
No.
because it's like, well, he's not known to
Or
make
even
movies that are like that.
Carpenter doesn't put layers in his movie.
Not
either.
well, he puts a few, but not like this. Not like this.
No,
not
no.
like this. No. Kubrick is from a different
Same
generation.
thing with Craven. Wes Craven, same thing. You know, although I would say Craven could go there. I think Craven was that type of director that if he had the right material, he could do something like The Shining, or he could do something like A Clockwork Orange.
Because he has a good understanding of symbolism and religion. He grew up in a very Catholic family, and he's a good storyteller.
Right.
And there's symbolism in the first Elm Street too. I mean,
absolutely there is.
It's a slasher film, but there's layers there, you know, and so yeah, this is. Anyways, I'm kind of missing the scene, but certainly there's people have pointed to the type of conversation they're having here, and again, just the way the scene is playing out, the way the two of them are talking to each other, and how very sort of melancholy it is, or not melancholy, but sort of just kind of dreamy, and the way the music is, and everything just feels so creepy and eerie. And it's like, why does this scene feel fucking creepy? Why is this a creepy scene? I don't get it. Like, it should just be a father and his son. But it, you know, is it though? You know, and even if it's not, you know, even if you know about the theory of Jack and his son, even if you do not want to subscribe to that, the scene is still fucking eerie. You know, and it's still a very strange thing, the way he's looking at him and stuff. And then of course he comes down the stairs. Danny does eventually into the lobby with his neck all sort of mangled. People have theorized that was Jack that did that.
Hey, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It's Prince Spaghetti Day. Did you guys have that commercial in New York, in Canada, growing up as a kid?
Maybe.
With the woman screaming out, Anthony. Oh
Yeah.
my God, you have no idea, bro. Growing up as a kid in the 80s with that commercial, Prince Spaghetti Day.
Yeah.
Anthony. And then you see the little boy running down the streets of New York. And his mom screaming his name. Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. Obviously, this is a big moon landing thing here. The people have theorized, I should say, that the carpet sort of looks like the launch pad of Apollo 11. It kind of does. Danny stands up. He's wearing an Apollo 11 sweatshirt, which is almost like symbolic of the rocket taking off. Danny is the rocket taking off, but the rocket is also
Kubrick doesn't believe we went to the moon, right?
No, I don't think there's evidence that he didn't believe we went to the moon. I think people have theorized that Kubrick helped stage the moon landing. There's been a lot of theories about that.
Okay.
So some people have theorized that there's a lot of that this was his way of sort of letting you know that. But
he did that?
Yeah, because apparently the moon is also about 237,000 miles away from Earth. Some people have said it's 238,000, depending on the time of year. Of course, room 237. And this is the Apollo. Now he's wearing the Apollo 11 shirt. So this is like the rocket going from the launch pad to the moon. And it's interesting. There's other things in there too about the moon.
Although I will say, if I can find the photo, I had a similar type sweater that Danny was wearing in this movie growing up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Apollo 11, but I think it was an Apollo type t-shirt, sweatshirt that Danny wore in this film.
I love MAGA Cat's thing here. Kubrick filmed the moon landing, like full stop. Like it's
Full
just
stop.
yeah. There's no just Kubrick filmed the moon landing.
No discussion.
No discussion. You know. No discussion. He filmed the moon landing. That's it. There's no discussion. You can't fucking tell me you didn't. What else I was gonna say? But the rocket is also a phallic symbol too, so you could see it as that as well. But
I love when he's like, I had a dream. I fucking killed you. Or
I know.
Like,
I know. Yeah, he said I killed you and Danny or something or whatever it is. course, she just ran across a bear rug as well. Bears are a thing in this. And of course, bears can be cute, cuddly, very kid-like. We're not at that point yet where we see the guy in the bear outfit sucking somebody's dick, but, you know, it's coming. No pun intended. No pun intended. I had the most miserable nightmare I ever had. It was the most horrible dream I ever had. What is it, Jack? It's okay now, Jack.
I fucking killed you.
I know. I dreamt that I killed you and Danny. What a creepy. But again,
right?
Oh my God! But I didn't just kill you. I cut you up into little pieces. Like that's fucking creepy, man. Imagine your spouse, imagine your significant other telling you this. You're isolated. You're alone. You're. Oh man, just crazy. Now, Danny, of course, comes into the hotel or into the lobby here, and his neck is all fucked up. Was it a dream? Was it not? I don't know. Excuse me. Your dad's just got a headache. Danny, mind what I say. Go play in your room. But he's not. Honey, let me just go and get him out of here. And this is when she notices, well, she blames Jack for the abuse, I think, right?
Yeah, she does. And he's like, what? I
didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And I don't know if I fully buy it. I think he might have. I mean, again, at face value, we are led to believe that, no, it's not Jack. Like, if you take this movie at face value, it's just a fun little horror movie about a possessed motel. Yeah, okay. It's fine. You can watch it at that level, I guess. But Stanley Kubrick's the director. You know, and so it's like saying, no, 2001, just a nice little space movie. It's like, no.
His reaction, like, what?
I know.
And that's great. another meme is born where Jack's just like, what?
Yeah.
The face you make when you meet another horror fan.
Yeah. You did this to him. I love that. You did this to him, didn't you? And he's like, what do you mean? You son of a bitch. You did this to him. But it's just the way how confident she is. Like she's always known. She's a cute little mousy housewife that doesn't speak up. I mean, she might even be abused. And again, this is theorizing, right? Because of the layers that are there. Who's to say that she's always known, but she's suppressed it because she's afraid, you know? And now that the baggage is starting to come out. And watch, every time he passes by a mirror on the left, he freaks out. So there's one mirror. He's going to pass by another mirror on the left here. There he goes, right? What is the mirror? The other self, right? The other self. He's going to pass by another mirror here. He freaks out. He's not freaking out in between them. He's going to pass by another mirror. Oh, there he goes. He freaks out again. You think that's just that Jack just decided to do that? That it just was a coincidence? No.
I mean, I'm sure Kubrick gave him the direction.
Oh, of course. To do. Yeah. But when you're watching it at face value on a surface level, you're not paying attention to that, right? Yeah. But you notice the freakouts, and your subconscious notices that it's in certain intervals, and you're like, oh, it's interesting, you know, and that's kind of weird. Even when he asks for bourbon and the bartender gives him Jack Daniels. What is Jack? A recovering alcoholic. What's the drink he's drinking? Jack Daniels. What's Danny's name? Daniel, Jack Daniels. Fascinating, isn't it?
Somebody in the chat room asked, what shape is the Earth? It's a triangle.
The Earth is a gigantic phallic dick.
It's a triangle. It's shaped like this.
What shape is the Earth? I hope you're joking.
No, I'm serious. It's shaped like
the comment section.
Some people believe it's flat. Some people believe it's round. I believe it's shaped like this.
There's no belief. It is.
We're peeping through a hole.
No, it's not. It's a big giant penis. I love that he sees this. Yeah. And of course, they're not really there, right? These people aren't really there. I love how flat earthers are like, the earth is flat, but the moon and every other planet is round.
Right. We only have proof of that in photos.
Right. Sun is round, Venus,
Saturn
Mars,
is round.
Saturn's
rings.
round, the moon
Jupiter
is round. That's right. The Earth
is flat.
No. Fuck that. The Earth's flat.
Fuck that. Flat.
Get the fuck out of here. Go back to school. Clearly, some
smoke another one.
Brain cell fell apart. I'll have some bourbon. Okay, here's some Jack Daniels. Which, I mean, you could. But it's funny, though. Jack.
Could be Jack.
Well,
Danny.
Jack and Danny,
Absolutely.
right? Jack and Danny. And he's a recovering alcoholic. And listen, do you think Kubrick was like, I don't know, just give him any kind of alcohol? No. And when you're writing a story, you think about those things. When you're writing a story, and Kubrick was fucking writing on the fly. There's YouTube videos of him at his typewriter writing in between fucking scenes. Changing certain things, adjusting certain things. I mean, it's the level of attention to detail is incredible, which is great in one aspect because then you turn out a very layered film that you can discuss and just, talk about, and it makes it much more mature and exciting. And then the other hand, depending on your it could be a real bitch to make. Because he shouldn't be drinking at all.
And he was doing it on an old school typewriter.
That's right.
No, the only way you should write a movie.
Mm.
Of course, if you have the means to do that, obviously. Nowadays, I get it. Digitally.
There's no way I could do it.
Yeah.
When my dad first...
If you had a typewriter.
I remember hearing my dad typing on his typewriter at night.
I'm sure you did. He was an OG reporter.
Yep. And I'd hear like...
You definitely didn't want to have a lot of typos on that.
No. And it was kind of comforting, like knowing that he was working.
The sound of a typewriter is a really comforting sound.
Yeah. And I could hear him, and I could hear it kind of far away, and it was kind of just it was just comforting knowing my dad was there,
It's why I chose this camera above all, because I have to manually set the shutter. I have to manually set the ISO. I have to manually set the f-stop on the ring here. Very old school, like you would do on a, that's what I love about this. It's as close to film without having to spend a buttload of money on film that I'm going to get digitally.
Gotcha. I never laid a hand on him. I didn't, he says. I wouldn't touch one hair on his goddamn little head. Is this true? I love that little son of a bitch. And he's drinking Jack Daniels. I'd do anything for him. Any fucking thing for him. I don't know. Do you believe him? I don't know. But that bitch, as long as I live, she'll never let me forget what happened.
See, when he calls her a bitch, I believe it, because he hated Shelley. I don't think he's acting. I don't think that's acting. I think that's legit.
I did hurt him once, okay? It was an accident. Completely unintentional. Was it though? Was it? It could have happened to anybody. And it was 3 goddamn years ago. That little fucker had thrown all my papers all over the floor. All I tried to do was pull him up. A momentary loss of muscular coordination.
Dan, you know this movie in and out.
No, I got the subtitles on.
Oh, do you? I'm like, bro, you're on a roll quoting this shit.
Well,
like.
for this movie, because of the layers and the complexity of the narrative, I wanted to have the subtitles on as well.
Gotcha.
So I could also relay it to the audience too. Now she rushes in here. Obviously, there's no bartender there. It's just him.
There's a lot of times that I want to say this line. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Oh, Wendy.
There's a lot of times I want to use that.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Now, some people have theorized that although Jack says, I'm going to go, because he knows subconsciously or consciously, he knows he's the one that hurt him. And again, theorizing that he's the one that actually hurt him. And so he knows there isn't a woman up there. But Jack, some people have theorized that Jack goes upstairs, goes to bed, and when he's having the experience in room 237, it's actually a dream. And it's actually supposed to, because your dreams are all about your subconscious, and your dreams will use symbolism to tell you certain things. And so people think that he's fallen asleep and he's not really there in room 237. And really it's all about the abuse. And because the woman in the bathtub draws back the curtain with her hand and kind of like points to Jack in the same ways that Jack did earlier, you know, talking about or telling Danny to come and see him. And there's other stuff too. Like I'm doing a very Cliff Notes version of this. There are videos on YouTube that dive deep into this, and I've read a lot on this for years. Shining is one of my favorite psychological horror films of all time because of those layers. Because it's like I notice something new every time, and sometimes. Again, it's extra fun to watch it and to theorize about a Kubrick movie because the probability of you being onto something is much higher to being correct because of how layered Kubrick was as a storyteller. Now, I mean, you certainly can go overboard. Of course you can. But some of the things they're talking about and some of the things they theorize about are not what's the word I'm trying to say? Not overblown, I guess. Oh, he's shining right now.
He's shining.
He's shining. He's shining. Well, we have 133 people in here. I didn't think we were going to get that many.
No. A lot more than I thought.
Mm-hmm. This kid's doing well. Look, he's frothing at the mouth. Look at this set. I want my living room to look like this.
You should totally do it. Absolutely.
You imagine? Of course, now Jack apparently is going into room 237. This is a steady cam that makes a pan left towards the bed. Makes you aware of the bed. Then moves towards the bathroom. Bathroom is green. It's creepy. I don't know. Is he really in there? Is he dreaming? I don't know. It's the woman pulling back the curtain. She's nude. I love when they...
That'd be a great photograph to recreate. I'm just saying, it would.
It's true.
I could play the Jack guy. I could do an over-the-shoulder shot, wear a red jacket, throw a wig on.
You could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Recreate this as well, too.
Look at his face. Look at his face. He's like, oh, yeah.
That's me on Friday night.
Yeah. Look how daintily she gets out of the tub too. Harry Hagen sends in $2. Thanks very much, Harry. Says, quick tip: if you're trying to impress a girl, don't show her a Kubrick film. I showed a girl Eyes Wide Shut to get her in the mood, and after the scene, it was downhill from there. It didn't work. Well, Eyes Wide Shut. Oh yeah. Wow, that's like almost softcore porn. Not really, but it's a good movie though. I like Eyes Wide Shut. It's got some good layers in there too. This woman right now is probably like 70 years old now. No, she's probably in her 60s though. If she's in her 20s here, she's probably in her 60s. No, I mean, not here. it's exploiting Jack's weaknesses, right?
Sure. All men's weaknesses.
Yeah. But there could be more to it for him. A past, the baggage. And then it ends up being somebody, obviously, when he looks in the mirror, I think it's, yeah. It's such a good moment. It's such a good moment. Here it comes. Yeah, he's like, what the fuck?
And this is what Saturday morning looks like when I sober up.
That's it. And you're cutting back to Danny, right? In the tub, and he's like, no. Props to the older lady for yeah. Backs out of room 237. Yeah, that's what's so great about this film is there's it's the different layers and interpretations of and a lot of films that Kubrick done is like, I mean, 2001 A Space Odyssey is another Kubrick film that is analyzed like you wouldn't believe, and what the meaning of that ending is. And of course, there is Kubrick is on record. There's an old interview with Kubrick in the 80s or something where he does kind of fill you in on what the ending of 2001 means. But because there's many different layers, there's several different interpretations of that too. He's a great storyteller. He doesn't hand things to you on a silver platter. He makes you work for it. He tells a story, one that you certainly could take at face value. Like I've been saying, oh, this is just a creepy hotel movie about a guy that goes mad. Okay, sure. But it's much more fun to watch again and again when you realize all the different layers that he's adding to it. And there's more that you can discover. You went into the room, right? To 237? Yes, I did. And you didn't see anything at all? Absolutely nothing. How is he? See, he peeks in, she doesn't. He closes the door. What a terrific set. Shelley Duvall's quite tall, isn't she?
She is.
Because how tall is Jack? Like what, 6 foot maybe? 5'11"? I don't know. I mean, he's probably shorter now, but like back then, I wonder how old he was. What about those bruises on his neck? Somebody did that to him. I don't know. I have a feeling it might have been Jack.
It was Michael.
Oh God, he had to make. I think. Look at this. I think
Tony,
he did it to himself.
Could you do it? We were going so good. Tony ruined it.
I know. Way to go, Tony. Jack Nicholson just said, I think it.
I can't help it. I'm texting the girls and this Michael shoot that we're planning to do.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be so good. The mask that Rick's making for me it looks good.
Yeah, really I saw good. Some of the photos on Instagram. I can't wait to see more of it.
It's great my version of what the 40-year mask is supposed to look. What I think it could have looked like.
Yeah.
Especially like because now he's putting the blood splatter on there and it's going to dry up. Oh, it's going to look so good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Danny again is having. I think this is where is it Jack? Whatever the explanation is. Murder. I think we have to get Danny out of here.
And that's my look when someone starts to talk about marriage. Instead of saying, get him out of here, I say, marriage.
That's right. That's
What?
it. That's it.
That's my reaction.
There's the now. Oh, there's the blood. Oh, yeah, that's right. The blood. The elevator with the blood happened earlier. That's right. But again, the elevator doors are very much like a mouth when it opens and the blood comes out, and the elevator floors are very much like eyes. And it, again, because it's a set, it didn't have to be designed that way, but it was designed that way. And they do look like eyes. They are eyes. It's a face, essentially. It's a face. And when the elevator doors open, that's like the mouth opening. Die Hard Drummer. When someone mentions kids, my reaction's more like Danny's a moment ago, right?
Screaming. That's
going crazy now.
Going nuts.
But yeah, when
more of that.
When those elevator doors open, that's the mouth opening and blood coming out, right?
Yeah. I'm sure marriage is beautiful to some folks, but it just wasn't in the cards for me.
Keeps going crazy and crazy. Crazier and crazier, Mr. Jack Nicholson. Look at all these balloons. Pennywise all of a sudden starts dancing down the hall.
That would be great.
That'd be awful. That's what Hollywood would do today. That's what they would do.
You know what I want? My ideal situation would be lifelong companion, no marriage, and she already has kids. So I don't have to go through the crying, 2 a.m. feeding, none of that stuff.
I think
they're
what
like
it is,
5 or 6. They skipped all that.
What people have to do, and it's easier said than done. You have to, and it's certainly easier said than done when you're young, of course. But you have to know what you want. If you know what you want, and you want to get married and have kids, and that's what you want, then that's what you should go out. But that should be one of the, I don't mean you bring it up on the first date, but I mean, it's something it's a principle that you have, right? And you don't compromise. And same with guys. If that's what you want, great. If it's not what you want on either sex, then if you find out early on, not on the first date, but like early on in a relationship with a girl that you're seeing or a guy that you're seeing, that they really want to get married and have kids one day, well, then get out. I mean, you don't have to get out rudely, but they're so hot and they're so nice. And yeah, but eventually this is going to become a fucking problem. And it does. It does. And then people are like, it's like, you got to stand your ground. You got to find somebody that doesn't want to have kids.
The lifelong companion thing works perfectly without the marriage part, because if you do come to an end, you end cleanly. There's no divorce court lawyers. There's no alimony, none of that stuff. You just go, good times. All right, I'm out.
Sure. No, of course. I just think
that's my approach.
There's too many people that sacrifice because the sex is good and they're hot or they're whatever. And I get it. Like when you're young, I get it. I totally get it. But it's just, you just have to know what you want. There's nothing wrong with either. If you want kids in marriage, it's great. If you don't, there's nothing wrong with that either.
I've never wanted kids. Marriage, I was okay with in like my 20s, but now that I'm like 42, I'm like, no. I've seen a lot of divorce. I've seen a lot of marriages go bad. And I'm just like, no. Yeah. Like I said, if a woman brought kids into the equation that are older, that's totally cool. But starting from ground zero at 42 and an infant, nope, fuck that. Not happening.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Harrell sends in 499, says, been asking you for you to do this for years. Favorite movie of all time. We'll watch this from start to finish this morning on my way to New York City. Thanks, guys. No problem. Thank you. Yeah, this is a fun one for sure. It's one of my favorite psychological horror films of all time. Just again, because of those different layers. Who's buying their drinks? He's back having a drink. It's not a matter that concerns you, Mr. Torrance. At least not at this point. We will give you the information we need. Anything you say, Lloyd? Lloyd? I love it. All those people obviously are not really there. It's great. I mean, they're really there, but in his mind.
And that's me when I break up in a relationship. Just out there dancing.
But sir, you are the caretaker. That scene is coming up here in a second.
Yeah, Mega Cat, you got better chances of winning the lottery before me spreading my seed into a lady. I'm just letting you know that right now. Good old Jeeves.
Yep. Yeah, they have that. It's the caretaker scene that's coming up here, and how he's like, but you are the care, or you've always been the caretaker, or something like that. It's a good scene. And the bathroom is painted red. Like, look at this.
Done intentionally.
Oh, of course.
And the framing of this is all done intentionally. Everything is spotless. Everything is meticulous.
Yeah.
The placement. You don't think that placement of where he placed that tray is not on purpose?
Of course.
Because look at how the yellow is. Well, no, it's off-centered. And
no, I mean, it's the center sink, I think.
No, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can look at that, but if you look at it from a negative space and where the yellow is complementing off of the white and the red, that's why.
Yeah.
Good old Grady.
That's right, sir.
I like his reaction. He's like, Grady?
Yeah. Mr. Grady, haven't I seen you somewhere before? Why, no, sir. I don't believe so. I don't know. Yeah.
Mr. Grady?
Weren't you once the caretaker here? Why, no, sir, I don't believe so. You, married man, are you, Mr. Grady? Yes, sir. I have a wife and 2 daughters, sir. And, where are they now? Oh, they're somewhere around. I'm not quite sure at the moment, sir. His 2 daughters were the twins, though, right?
Yep.
I think, yeah. Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here. This is such a great line that's about to come up. This is the layer. It's fucking great. I recognized you. It's coming up. I saw your picture in the newspaper. You chopped your wife and daughters up into little bits. And
his response is always like, ooh, like,
yes,
maybe it was Jack who was the one who did that.
Right.
Not Mr. Grady.
Right, because it's coming up.
That's such a great.
That's
that
strange,
shot is
sir.
so framed perfectly.
It is. I don't have any recollection of that at all. The way he's saying it so calmly. Again, very surrealism. Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here. This is it. This is so great. And he's like, I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. Now think about that. You are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. I should know, sir. I've always been here.
So it makes you wonder who did the killing of the little girls.
Well, yeah, and that line, you've always been the caretaker, there's many different interpretations of that you could apply to it, right? You've always, but you are the caretaker. So he's saying that, you are the caretaker. You are the one that, hang on a sec, did you know, Mr. Torrance, that your son is attempting to bring an outside party into this situation?
Oh, is he saying the word that you no longer can say in movies? Especially.
Did you know that?
I think he does. I think he says what you definitely cannot say this anymore.
He is Mr. Torrance.
Don't say it, Dave.
Who?
Don't.
If it comes up, I won't say it. Right. Yeah. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, you cannot say that anymore.
No.
No. No way.
No. But, well, he basically says an N-word. An N-word?
Yeah.
An N crook, an N-word crook, or cook, or whatever, or crook, whatever. Yeah. But again,
and I get it. Look, I get it from
it's context. It's a story.
Yeah,
it's a film. It's there's context around it. And again, I realize it is 1980. I realize, it was a different time. And I'm white. I realize that. But I'm just saying that it's not used in a irresponsible way, I don't believe.
No, but it is definitely used in a they're meaning it.
For sure. 100%. That's the idea, right? But I love the line, "You are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker." There's so many layers to that. When you can tap into that, it can, for one example of what I'm talking about is, you are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. So that could mean that you are you are the abuser. You've always been the abuser. Your destiny is already set. It's not like, you are the murderer. You've always been the murderer. You've always had it inside you. This is the path you've always been on. I mean, again, there's other interpretations, but that is, and then you can interpret it as, some people have turned to reincarnation, right? Where it's like, because of the photo of Jack at the end of the movie, and that he is the caretaker. He's always been the caretaker. You were him. You've always been. There's different layers, but again, in the writing, it's brilliant writing because it's left open to interpretation.
Or is this the afterlife that his character's stuck in, and it's just revolving?
Well, true, yeah. There could be that as well. But it's just in that subtleness that you are him, sir, and you know it. Very much almost like Shelley Duvall knows the abuse that's going on, but she has suppressed it. It's been suppressed. And when she sees the guy in the dog outfit sucking off the other guy, that's not really a guy in a dog outfit sucking off a man. It's that's how it's being communicated to her through her subconscious. It's symbolism. And when she sees that, she knows what that means. She knows what that represents. It's like how dreams communicate to us. Very rarely are dreams literal, right? They communicate to us in symbols and in analogies almost, and like very rarely, if you have a sexual dream of, and I mean this, I'm not gonna say very rarely, but hopefully my audience is mature enough to understand what I'm saying, is that if you have like a sexual dream of, like, let's say your cousin or something, right? At face value, you would.
The hell are you dreaming about, man?
No. I'm not. I'm using this, but I'm saying that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Let's hypothetically say you did, right? Well, at face value, you might go, "Oh my God, that means I'm sexually attracted to my cousin." No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. I mean, I guess it could mean that, but it doesn't. It likely doesn't mean that. There's different layers there. Your subconscious is using that to tell you something else, like maybe, that you're. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but it's much more deeper than that, right? And we've all had that kind of thing before where it's like, I haven't even thought of that person in so long. Why am I dreaming of that person? Why am I dreaming of my ex? Does that mean I want to be with my ex again? No, it likely does not mean that. But your subconscious is using your ex because there's something else going on in your life. Like maybe there's a feeling you get when you think of your ex, and you should be getting that feeling dealing with your boss. Do you know what I mean? And your subconscious is reminding you of that feeling, or whatever it is, right? That's sort of, again, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a dream interpreter, but I do know that there's a lot of that goes on. And Freud and Jung talked about that too, right? The subconscious and how it will speak to us through dreams, and use symbols to relay messages. Danny's gone away, Mr. Torrance, or Mrs. Torrance. Danny.
If I'm dreaming of my ex, usually Michael's in the dream with me. And I'm usually just kicking back, drinking a pina colada on a hammock, watching him do his business to her.
That's a whole other level of stuff there.
I'm like, Mikey, not enough knives.
That's it.
More. Keep adding more.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's Jim Joe says a very smart thing. Yeah, it's right. Losing your teeth in a dream isn't about you needing a dental checkup. That's right. That's right. I mean, it could, right? Right. But generally speaking, it doesn't. That's a great Cole's Notes, thing to say of sort of the bigger, more deeper thing of what I'm talking about. And our dreams, our subconscious will communicate to us. And because there's a dream-like, not that this movie is a dream, but there's a dreamlike surrealism to this dream about, the maze and the how the interiors don't match the exteriors. And there's a whole, and this is intentional, there's a surrealist kind of thing to this film, and Kubrick's communicating through different layers, and it's fascinating to watch. Kind of look like they're wearing Haddonfield. Here you go, Halloween fans. Kind of looks like Haddonfield Memorial cops there. I'll call you back later. I'll call you back later.
I'll call you back later.
Nice, you sounded like that. 8 a.m. Continental. Just sitting on a plane. Sitting on a plane, yeah. Sitting on a plane, yeah.
And fun fact, folks, back then, and your father, if your father was alive and he was here, he could definitely confirm this. I mean, and think about this. Mm-hmm. You're in a confined space. People could smoke on airplanes back then. Think about that. You're in this confined space and people are just...
Do modern planes still have the no smoking sign?
Oh yeah. You can't smoke on. You can't smoke.
No. I know that, but remember when they would you couldn't smoke until you were in the air, right, or something to that degree, I think. And then when the smoking light went out, you could light up. I just wonder if they still have them because you can't smoke on a plane at all anywhere. So, But anyway.
Holy balls, this shot. Just look at just how everything's just framed.
It's fantastic.
You know what I mean?
It's great.
That's done intentionally. That's not just like Kubrick going, I'm just going to put Jack here, center framed. Everything is perfect. Like, no.
Yeah. Durkins. Yeah, I love movies that really craft their shots. I'm not a big fan of movies that listen, some shots, some scenes, you want to shoot it dirty. That's just film speak for, just going in and, getting it done without thinking too much about it or thinking too much about framing or whatever, right? You just go in and, and some shots and scenes, depending on what you've written, do require that. But there's so many movies today that are shot either not even Steadicam, almost feels like it's handheld. They're like, you're watching a conversation and the camera's like moving a little bit, and then it cuts to the other person. It's kind of moving a bit. And I'm like, why? Like, why did you just throw that thing on fucking sticks? And let's just like, come on, like, again, unless it's a film noir or some sort of action movie that might require a bit of that for the pacing and the vibe. I get it. But I see so much of it now.
Hey, there's Rocky and Apollo's trainer. Yep, this is set in the Rocky universe.
This is, yes, this is officially, they're stunt doubles.
See, really what he was doing at this point is he was getting ideas like up in the snow, like, okay, we need some training ideas for Rocky. He's about to fight a big ass Russian.
That's it. Now watch this. He's going to come across a car, a red beetle or a red bug or whatever. I forget what they're called. Beetles, bugs, whatever they are. Now, remember, in the Shining book, the car that Jack was driving up to the hotel was red, but in the movie, it's yellow. And some people have theorized that Stephen King made this car, there it is, the red car, it's throwing a little shade to King because that was the red car.
If that was the car that King wrote in the book, then yeah, that's totally a shot.
Yeah,
that's totally a
because
shot
the
at King.
car in the book is red.
Is it a red Volkswagen?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then
I believe so.
It's
yep.
Then that's on the nose.
Don't quote me on it, but I believe it is. And but of course they drive a yellow one up. He changed that. Why? Well, red and yellow can symbolize the same thing, but different things as well. But yeah, some people have been like, oh, that's totally, just kind of saying, yeah, I don't need your, it's fascinating. I want you to stay here and watch your cartoons, okay? Okay, hon? Oh, he's talking. Yes, Mrs. Torrance. Tony lives in his mouth. That's not suggestive. Just saying.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, there's nothing to that theory.
No innuendo at all in there.
No. Since when do kids have imaginary friends that live in their mouths? I don't know.
Hollywood. That's Hollywood for you.
Yeah. No, yeah. Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep. The Roadrunner, I love watching. Listen, I love Looney Tunes cartoons, but that Roadrunner is fucking arrogant. That Roadrunner is a pompous little prick. That Roadrunner always wins. He needs to die. He's so arrogant and pompous, and he's like, yeah, fuck you, you lose again.
There we go.
Here it comes. And she's convinced. Because I think she's always known. I think she's convinced. Like, again, you can take it at face value and be like, no, this is just, it's not him. It's the fucking hotel. It's haunted. Is the hotel haunted? Yeah, sure, of course. Are there weird things going on? Absolutely. Danny can see shit and there's stuff there, but 2 things, 3 things, 4 things can be true at the same time. And I think I think there's enough evidence to suggest that maybe she's always known that Jack has abused Tony. Or Danny. Sexually, physically, emotionally, whatever. Like I think she's known. Remember what he said at the bar? Okay, there was that one time. It was one time.
Well, Shelley Duvall also earlier in the movie when she's talking to the shrink brings up the one time Jack.
That's right. That's right.
Did that to him as well. All work and no play. I want a typewriter like this in my living room just to have.
But just imagine seeing that. I love this shot too, just looking up at her like this. So well framed. Imagine seeing how creepy that would be. You think your husband for months. Hey,
what does the V stand for at the end? Do you know why? I know I saw where it says all work and no play, but there was a V.
There was a V?
I don't know if you caught that. Do you know what that means? Is that something that because I'm not familiar with typewriters?
No, I don't know.
If anybody caught that in the chat room before Shelley Duvall flips the paper and it starts to scroll up, there is a V just before.
Are you ahead of me? Where are you? She's looking at the.
No, she's looking at the stack.
Yeah. Same.
But when she was looking on the typewriter, there was a V in front of it in one of the lines. I didn't know if that meant something.
But I just love that you think look at it, and look how it's written out. It's written out like it's a story. Oh my God. That's fucking creepy. It is so creepy. You think your husband's writing and look at what he's been doing. The same sentence over. But it's formatted like he's a story. He's got like in the middle for the dialogue. He's got the action and the exposition. He's got, oh my God, but it's the same thing. That is fucking creepy. Imagine seeing that and you'd be like, what is this? That's the definition of insanity. He's going insane. Oh, that'd be so creepy. I think that would be creepy. I mean, maybe people today watch this movie and they get to that scene and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But, okay, sure. But if I was living alone with my significant other and she was writing a story and months went by and I went over to see what she was doing and that's what I saw, woo! How do you like it?
I just look at her and be like, I think it's time. I think it's time. You go this way, I go that way.
Yeah, I love that he's like, how do you like it?
It's your best work yet.
I know. I think Jack Nicholson said that this was his favorite scene to shoot.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was.
Oh, poor Shelley Duvall.
Some people just don't get along on
No.
set. It is what it is, you know. That's actually a common occurrence.
Oh yeah.
That's not uncommon. That's very common. Actors just don't get along.
It's more common than you realize.
Masterpiece.
Yep. What do you want to talk about? I don't know, Jack. She's got such an interesting look to her, and she plays the role so well. Can't remember. He knows. Maybe it's about Danny. Danny knows. He's opening his mouth. He's like, oh no. Maybe it was about him. Kid's got to go. There's the blood right over his eyes. I think we should discuss Danny. Murder. I think we should discuss. Yeah, fuck. What should be done with him? What should be done with him? Imagine you find out that Danny is not either their kid. They stole him. It's a whole other layer. That's not a layer, that's not a theory, by the way. I've just made that up. Of course, watch somebody take that now and try to fit it.
Do you think maybe we should take him to a doctor?
Yeah. You think maybe we should take... Maybe, yeah. I know, I love it.
Yes.
I know. And she hits it. I know. She hits him hard too. Well, not really hits him, but you know, in terms of the movie, it makes it look like she hits him with she hits him with a baseball bat. Yeah, she's totally afraid for her life and the life of her son. Cameras moving backwards. See, this is really great too. These are not POV shots. Jack is looking past the camera, but the camera is moving backwards as if we are Shelley Duvall. But we are not Shelley Duvall. We are moving forwards onto Shelley as if we are Jack, but we are not Jack. Right? Terrific. I don't think this would have worked as effectively if they were full-on POV shots. POV wasn't a huge thing at that time. I mean, it was a thing. But certainly, cameras moving forward on Shelley as if we are Jack, but we're not Jack. She's looking over us. It's the energy. It's the presence of the character moving in, stepping back, moving in, stepping back. Don't they get to the top? Yeah, I think they get to the top of the stairs and she just belts him.
It's such a diss.
I know.
I don't hurt you.
Yeah.
Wendy, darling,
light of my
light
life.
of my life.
I'm not going to hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I'm going to bash them in. I'm going to bash them right fucking in. Like, holy Jesus. It's just I'm sorry. It's fucking creepy shit. Like, this shit to me is far scarier. And maybe it's because, you know, we're getting older, but this is far like I know it's, you know, it's in pop culture now and it's kind of, you know, but this is scarier to me. Like having your deranged husband say, I'm going to bash your fucking brains in. Like this is far scarier than any chainsaw. Not that Texas Chainsaw isn't a cool movie. I'm just saying, you know, in terms like it's the psychological aspect of it, right? Is scarier to me than any sort of like blood or anything like that.
Wendy.
There it is. Oh! Down he goes. Obviously, that's not really Jack Nicholson,
cracked him
but that would have
good.
been funny. Oh, yeah. She hit him hard. Imagine that was actually Jack Nicholson that decided to do that. He's like, no, I want to fucking do it. I want to fall down the stairs.
You got a big surprise coming to you.
That line's coming up soon. I think she throws him in the freezer. If I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, look at those knives.
My dude is out cold.
Yeah.
He's out cold.
She's going to throw him in the freezer, I think. Oh,
Jack, you need to cool off. We're
That's
going to
just
put
it.
you in the freezer.
That's it. You need to cool off. Yeah, what are you doing?
Starting to come to.
Starting to go, what is going on? I can't fucking. Oh. It's great. And she grabs the knife. Those knives were foreshadowing earlier. And then she grabs the far left one that I said that she was going to grab. Or that I pointed out because that's the table that Danny and what's-his-face were sitting at. Let me out and I'll forget the whole thing. I'll be like nothing. It'll be like nothing ever happened. Like, essentially what's happening here is that they've gone mad. Yeah, or he's gone mad. But in reality, it was the hotel that brought this out. The hotel isn't just the cause of this. The hotel is bringing their baggage out. It's exploiting what was already there, in their past. They weren't happy. There was a lot of trouble in their relationship. There was a lot of abuse, whether that's physical, emotional, sexual, whatever. There was a lot of abuse, but with Danny, there's a lot of weird shit there, right? We know that he freaked out at Danny one time. That was, as Tony pointed out, that was very early on. We knew that. And so, yes, there is cabin fever that's happening here, but it's just bringing it to the surface, in my estimation. I love the angle too. What a great shot. You know what? It's funny. I would have shot it the same way.
I've seen the behind the scenes of them filming that.
Yep. I think Kubrick's got the
Wendy.
director's viewfinder too, and I think he's looking through it to figure out what lens he wants to use. And whenever you see a director on set, and they always got that big, kind of looks like a viewfinder that they're looking through. Of course, now I think you can download apps, but and there's many different kinds of. They're called a director's viewfinder, and essentially you look through and you can figure out, framing, lenses, things like that, like how you want to shoot something. And sometimes they're really big, and you see them holding up. They look like telescopes, and they're holding it up to their eyes, and it's just because they're trying to figure out the shots and what lenses they want to use. I love how that snow is fake.
Fake
It
as
looks
fuck.
now that looks real as fuck.
Oh yeah, as someone who, and dude, you've been hit with snowstorms like that
Yep.
in Toronto.
Of
We have
course.
in Connecticut.
Of course.
That's not unrealistic. It's just it is fake snow.
It's fake snow in the sense of that it didn't come from the sky. But I think they did use snow machines. Like I think some of it might be real snow in terms of it's cold, I think. But it's snow machines that generate real snow. Some of it might be fake, some of it might be real from the snow machines, but it's not snow from the sky. But it's just, you know, it's kind of cool. Of course, we see her breath too. I wonder what time of year they shot this, because that wouldn't have been digital. Yeah, some of it might be real. Some of it might, like, that's real. That's a real, yeah.
I'm sure that's a real shot of the hotel in the winter. Because it is fucking in...
and shooting over at L Street in England.
Denver?
Yeah.
Where in Denver is the hotel?
I don't know where it is.
I know they're from Boulder.
Yeah. The film was shot at L Street Studios in England. Same time they were shooting Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that's where Spielberg and Kubrick met, I think.
Became BFFs.
And so, yeah, some of it might... I stand to be corrected on what was real in terms of the snow and what wasn't, because depending on the time of year they shot, too, some of it might have been real. But to Tony's point, yeah, there was definitely snow that was created. Especially in the maze. I mean, the maze at night is all one big set, too.
Hey, Grady.
Yep. Mr. Torrance, can you open the fucking door? I see you have hardly any of the business we discussed. Isn't it creepy how he's not helping him out of there? He's having that conversation. Again, very surreal. Of course you can't, but yeah. It's not really there, right? It's not really there. It's in his fucking mind, Wendy. It's in my fucking mind. I don't think I've missed any super chats, have I? I don't think so.
No, we're good, which is good because we
good,
gotta get off early tonight.
Well, it's not a movie that tends to generate a large super chat audience.
No, it's fine. But
no, I agree. I agree.
I got an early wake up call tomorrow, so I can't be on late tonight.
What are you shooting tomorrow?
Houses.
Oh, cool.
My first one's at 8 in the morning.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Arr. You should put something like tiny that only you know it's there, but it's in every photo you take.
Like something so small that like I know it's there, but the rest of the people can't see it.
Right. Yeah.
It is. There is.
Is there really?
There is. If you zoom in on all my photos, look carefully. I've been doing that since the beginning, and I've never said anything until now. Yeah.
Oh my God!
There's something very subtle. You have to look. Like, I mean, you're gonna have to look under a microscope basically to see it.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but I've done it in all my photos.
Can you tell me off camera?
Yeah, I'll tell you off camera.
Okay. The bolt unlocks. How did it unlock? Ooh. The spirit unlocked it, young Skywalker. Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete. That's how he says it. Complete.
You know, I don't know if it's just because I'm older now, but like, I can't get into Star Wars anymore. I don't know.
I can watch the originals. The originals I can
even the
watch.
originals I can't get into anymore.
No,
I don't know why.
I can still watch the originals. I can still watch the originals.
I don't know if it's just I've outgrown them or...
You know what I'm not into is everything else Star Wars. Like all the books and the comics and the games and the cartoons. I just don't give a fuck. I just don't care. If you do, that's great. I just don't care. I don't mean you as in Tony. I mean you as in
no, I know.
The audience, yeah. Oh, Red Rum. I don't know if I told you guys this. I have photos in 2014. So this is what? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Red Rum.
Almost 8 years ago. The Stanley Kubrick exhibit came to Toronto. And I went down with my girlfriend. And I have photos of me at the Stanley Kubrick exhibit. It was fucking great. like memorabilia, his cameras, his original cameras from his photography days, photos he took. They had like a couple of sets built from The Shining. So I had my photo taken on like the carpet, not the real carpet from the movie, but just shit to make the exhibit more fun. They had like models from 2001, A Space Odyssey. They had the original Apollo 11 shirt that Danny wears in this fucking movie. They had the original like Star Child alien kind of thing from the end of 2001. It was fucking great. It was great. It was when it was on tour and it came to Toronto, and my girlfriend and I were like, we got to go down. So we went down. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah. I've posted some photos from that before, but I should do it again. Like I said, it was 7 years ago now, but it was still really good. I have a picture of me with sitting on the floor. You can totally tell it's The Shining carpet. I'm on the floor leaning against the door that says Red Rum, and I'm just kind of looking at it. I think I got a Yankees hat on. I don't know why. I guess it was a hat I had at the time. Red Rum.
Braves, baby. Braves.
I know. They did it.
Although I'm a Yankees fan, but I'm very happy for the Braves. I mean, I root for the Braves like you root for the Jays. You know what I mean?
Well, the Jays are my favorite team.
Oh wait, no, I meant the
Leafs. Leafs. Yeah.
Leafs. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like they're my hometown city team.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm always going to be a Yankees fan through and through, but I was so happy. So many friends of mine who are diehard Braves fan. Yeah. With so many heartbreaks with this team, I was happy to see that.
It's good stuff. I love that Red Rum is so iconic now. Yeah, I know. Red Rum. I love how it's so iconic. And he actually wrote it. He actually drew that. And then here it comes, the old style zoom. Ooh, that's called a crash zoom or a smash zoom. It's actually called a crash zoom, but sometimes on set, you'll hear people say smash zoom. It's the same thing. We had a couple of those, and it's me, Billy. For those of you that have seen It's Me, Billy, you'll probably recognize that. It was a very stylistic thing that they used to do in their films.
Iconic moment in cinema here.
100%.
With the shot
Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
Definitely iconic. And I love how the camera's going back when he swings and to the door when he hits the door. So it's going back when he winds up and then to the door, back and to the door, back and so following him like that. But back, boom, to the door. Love it. Again, you could have just had the camera on the door, but you didn't. You're going with him, boom, as if you are the axe. You're going with him. Runtun. It's great. Wendy, I'm home. I love it. I love, the hazy, misty feel,
I got to admit, there's a part of me. If the state wasn't such a hellhole to live in now, there's a part of me that does miss a little bit of this, the winters of the Northeast. But yeah,
I used to love the winters as a kid because
cost of living is just ridiculous.
Yeah. As a kid, I loved the winter because it was hockey season and I played hockey. I'd go out onto the outdoor rinks and play with my friends. But of course, I was a teenager. I didn't have to drive. Now as an adult, I'm like, I don't like the winter so much anymore. Well, I like snow at Christmas time because I grew up, of course, in a climate where we get snow at Christmas. And so for me, I don't mind having snow like a week before Christmas to get into the mood, maybe a week after Christmas, so right up to New Year's. So essentially from like December, let's say December 15th to like January 1st. And then the snow can fuck off. But that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. The snow sticks around for like 3.5, 4 months.
Of all the characters that I shoot, Ghostface would be fun to do a winter themed, snow themed photo shoot. Yep. Michael wouldn't really work. I know Jason, I guess I could because Never Hike in the Snow brought that into that character. Yeah. Leatherface wouldn't work, but Ghostface could work.
Yep. Here's more of that camera swing. Yep. Camera goes with him.
I love that. You ever see the behind the scenes of Jack amping himself up for this?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I don't think it took much for him to get amped. No, I think he was already there.
Yeah.
He's like, give me a line of Coke. All right, let's go.
It's great. Love seeing that axe come through.
Such an iconic moment.
It is.
Even her scream.
Yep.
It's so iconic. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Here it is. Yeah. Turn it up for people. Here we go.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, it's great.
Did he improvise that or Kubrick write it?
Don't know. Good question. It's a good question. He's coming back. He's coming back. Only he's gonna fucking bite it. Hardcore. Got to get to the snowplow. Oh no, he hears it too. That's right. Yeah, it's so good. I think I saw a couple of super chats. Yeah, Scott Scott Molerano $4.99 says, "Hey guys, did you notice in the bathroom scene Jack is looking in the mirror the whole time, as if he's having a conversation with himself, perhaps?" The bathroom scene. What bathroom scene? There's a lot of bathroom scenes. One earlier, you mean? We may have talked about it. Happy Sanjo sends in $5. Says, "You guys,
the caretaker, I almost said Mr. Garrett."
Oh, the caretaker. Oh, I
Grady.
see. I see what you're. I see what he's talking about. Yeah, I could see that. I got to go back and see that scene again. But I know what you're talking about. That's interesting. I like that you brought that up. Happy Sanjo sends in $5. Says, "You guys like the film 1408? Very psychological film." I actually do.
Yeah, with Cusack.
Yeah, John Cusack. I actually don't mind that movie. That's actually a pretty good movie. Yeah.
We could do that one night here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, you know what I was thinking we need to do? Maybe before the year end, maybe like, I don't know, towards the end of the year or something. We need to do, because I watched it the other night, we need to do Scary Movie. That movie's fucking funny.
I think I saw it once like 20 years ago and haven't seen it since.
It's stupid funny.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite, though, one of my favorite, two of my favorite lines are from Scary Movie 3, though. What is the dude who's playing Charlie Sheen's brother? I can't remember his name now. George is the character's name.
I can't remember. I don't remember much on that.
But when they're out there and he's like talking about wanting to be a rapper still, and he's like, "I got a dream." And Charlie Sheen's like, "What's your dream?" "To have a dream."
That's it. That's it.
It's so stupid.
It is.
And then the one with Regina Hall, when they're doing the ring and the water's coming, she's like, "Sydney,
I know.
My TV's leaking." Just her look afterwards, like, "Wait, what did I just say?" My TV's leaking. I love Regina Hall, and that's a fine woman.
I love how we're following Jack around here. You know
yes,
he's limping. Yeah. He's got the axe in his hand, and now remember, folks, this is a set. This is a set that was built for The Shining. You're not in a real hotel, but then again, I mean, it looks so real. What's real? What's the line between real and not, right? But it's a set. It's a set. It's not the actual interior of that hotel looks very different. Very different. And there's videos on YouTube that you can check out. It does not look like this at all. This is very eerie and big and spacious, and it's cool. The actual interior of the hotel is not like this. The actual interior of the hotel looks more like a lodge, which it is, actually. That's probably why it looks like that.
Since Danny and him can shine, why Danny didn't warn him.
Destiny, maybe. Maybe he was just, I don't know.
Actually, that's a good idea, Die Hard Drummers. We could do Scary Movie, and then for New Year's, we could do Trading Places.
Oh.
It's a great
fucking movie, but it's...
That is. Yeah, I know.
As long as people are okay with Dan Aykroyd in blackface, just saying, "Oh, love that right there." And Danny knew. He saw it. He can see it right there. The intercuts with his face are fantastic. It's eerie. He's ready. He's like, "I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass, Wendy." That sucked too, because he was the only sign of hope.
Danny boy.
Yep.
Actually, this movie's cruising along, even though it is a long movie. It's not like,
I think it's because we've had a lot to say.
and there's only like 14 minutes left.
Yep. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Here comes the moment. See, he's chasing after Danny right now, right? We know that Jack is chasing after Danny. Here is Shelley Duvall. She's going to witness something that is very strange. Now, there was something more of this in the book. There is. It's not just randomly in there. But Kubrick doesn't go into the backstory. Kubrick doesn't dive into the context of this. The book does, from a different point of view. Kubrick is utilizing it for something else, clearly. She notices it. She sees it. There's clearly a guy with his fucking ass hanging out in a bear costume, leaning over somebody, giving him head. And then the person sits up. She looks. There's that nice crash zoom. They're looking at her. It's again, a lot of people have interpreted this and theorized it. It's her. She's not really seeing this. It's her. It's her subconscious telling her, that Danny may be in trouble, right? Obviously she knows that. But it's that, oh my God, it's so eerie, because when you look at the bear's mouth too, there's no way that he could be doing that because the bear's got these big teeth and the mouth is closed and whatnot. So it's the symbolism. It's that kind of warning, right? Again, some people buy into that. Some people don't, but I think there's strong evidence for that suggestion, that there's, and she's seeing that like a dream. It's like being presented to her like a dream. Maybe Danny, that's because that's, Danny's, maybe Danny was a bear for Halloween one year, or that's because he has a bear pillow at home. And so she's seeing the bear, you know what I mean? Rather than just seeing Danny, or whatever. But yeah, it's cool. And like I said, I mean, I don't believe that theory has been proven to be 100% true because obviously Kubrick's dead. And a lot of people who work on these types of films with him don't speak because they like to keep the anonymity there because it makes the films fascinating and more interesting to watch.
I think Kubrick
is somebody
would have
that
I think he would have just said, well, what do you think? How are you interpreting it? And
yeah,
that's it.
He
would have left it as for what do you think?
Right.
Don't worry about what I'm telling you. I'm leaving it there for you to tell me what you think.
Yeah. And it's so cool to analyze his films because he is one of those filmmakers that does go to that length. So, when you see when you watch videos and you read articles from people who are really doing deep dives and are smart film savvy people. They're not just pulling things out of their ass, and they understand cinematic language. They understand symbolism. You realize, oh my goodness, they're really, wow. What did he mean by that? Why is that there? Because at surface level, it's like, why is she seeing this? What is the point of that? Why is she seeing this? What does that mean? It means something because Kubrick wouldn't have it in there if it didn't. And then you start to kind of connect interesting dots and it's like, whoa.
And the soundtrack to this is very simple.
But it's great, isn't it?
It's a great soundtrack, but very simple. It's not, not overly polished, not overly done. The sound design done very well.
Yep. Again, she's seeing, right? Yeah. Red party, isn't it? I love how she's got the knife out. It's very like surreal. Yeah, like who runs like that? Who acts like that? There's a dream surrealist quality about this movie. I know I keep saying that, but it's so weird. It's eerie. It's great.
Danny!
Yeah, he says that. Danny starts sounding like Yoda.
He does. Danny!
You will come to me, Danny, you will.
Come, you will.
Look at this shot with the light coming through like that.
I know.
Beautiful. Oh, there's your blue. Look at that.
There's Dave and his blue lighting. I can hear the complaints coming now.
Look at this, though. Look at those people just sitting there and shit. She's seeing this.
So what I'm saying, like, when we get to this point is like, are they stuck in some type of like,
don't know.
Purgatory? You know what I mean? I was going to say hell, but I wouldn't say hell, but like a purgatory where they just, they can never escape it. And it's just going to keep, going in circle until they came out with obviously Dr. Sleep that changes it all. But like, if you just look at The Shining as a standalone, are they stuck in this like cycle? You know what I mean?
In your mind, does Doctor Sleep, now I know it's got rave reviews, I know a lot of people love it, but in your mind, was it necessary?
No.
Does it make this movie better? Or is
No.
it just kind of like, well, you know?
No, it's like Halloween.
Right.
Halloween can stand on its own by itself, and
Right.
that's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Shining, same thing. The Shining can stand on its own, and
Right.
no sequel,
Right.
never to be made. You know?
Right.
I understand, like you said, you're right. It got rave reviews. People like it.
Yeah.
It's an all right movie. I love
Yeah.
the callback scenes when they get back to the Overlook. I thought those were well done, but
Right.
at the end of the day, did we need it? Of course not. Does it add anything to this movie? No, of course not.
Here comes the blood. Ooh, she sees it. Fuck. The mouth is opening. The blood is coming out. Danny's in trouble. Danny's in trouble. She's seeing that juxtaposed to what we're seeing here. It's fascinating.
No, Helen, I've never seen the Daredevil TV show. I don't watch really much television. My television watching,
I don't have
unless
cable.
unless it's like old TV shows that's what I primarily watch. Like right now, I'm watching the early seasons of MASH. Fucking great show.
I started watching Seinfeld again on Netflix.
Anything new? As far as new shows, Cobra Kai, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
The Ozark, fucking love the Ozark. And that's pretty much it when it comes to modern shows. I'm not really into it. Just not really a TV guy, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I gotcha.
I like reading. That's what I said earlier.
Isn't it crazy to think
I have stacks of books everywhere.
We've already been live for 2.5 hours? Whew.
It's flown. It's flown by fast.
It has.
But it's like you said, we've had so much to say, you know.
Yep.
I'm kind of in my trance when I watch these films because again, like, you know, I said, I'm watching it from that photographer's eye and watching how Kubrick is framing the shots and just admiring it and appreciating it. That 2.5 hours just goes like that for me.
This is so cool.
I can't wait till we do fucking Clockwork Orange. I can't wait till we do that.
This was a set. This is inside. This is inside a building. They're actually not outside. Just YouTube The Shining behind the scenes. If you haven't seen it, you'll thank me. It's really cool. Foster S sends in $2, says, is Michael Myers at a universe monster status yet? Well, I think so. I think Michael,
all
Jason,
those characters,
Freddy.
Yeah, I was going to say, all those guys are at that point. They are universal monster.
They are of that time. Yep. I mean, of a certain time, they were that. I think the monster has changed over the years, you know? So I think there are monsters that exist today too, but they're just not guys in a suit with a knife.
You know what show I just finished watching, or series I just finished? It's an old series, but a fucking great series. I love how they filmed that on 16 millimeter and just the ruggedness of it is The Shield, starring Michael Chiklis. Such a good show.
Yeah.
You've never seen The Shield?
No, I mean,
Bro.
I haven't. No, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I wasn't.
I
never
you
watched it.
Really? I love that show. So I love just the grittiness of that show. I love how they filmed it and how they chose to film it on 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
He gets stuck. He's going to get stuck. There he is. And of course, there's so many different interpretations of the ending as well, and what the photograph means. And, you know, does it mean that he was always there, right? He was always the caretaker. He was there in 1921 because he's the reincarnation, you know, of that. I mean, there's that. Some people have interpreted that.
That's how I sound at my peak on Friday night.
There you go. There you go.
After half a bottle of tequila.
Do you have a theory on the photograph at the end? What's your theory? The photograph with him, how he's in the photo.
I was thinking, like, what do you mean when he's frozen?
No. I
think that like I said, I think that, like I've been saying it a couple of times, I think this is their purgatory. I think it's just cycling. I think it's just showing us that he's been there all along. And that, I think that this is
Right.
It's going to repeat itself.
Right. Yep. That he's. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah. Hey, you guys. Can you imagine?
I love the silhouette of him. Yeah, so great.
There he is, all frozen. It's so good. They did such a good job. Is that really him or is that a dummy of him? Do we know?
I don't know. It's a good question.
And then here we are.
That's a really
Nice.
good question.
Slow tracking or slow zoom up.
I forget the name of this song. This is a very popular song too of the era.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I forget what it is too, but
You know what? And I knew it at the beginning. I knew I should have wrote it fucking down. Someone in the chat room will tell me. It's a very popular song of the era.
Oh, there goes my light. I have a photoshopped photo of me on Jack's face. It's fucking hilarious. Well, Jack is actually photoshopped as well. That's not really him. I mean, that's a real photo from that era, and they photoshopped Jack Nicholson's face. Yeah. No, it's just his head.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his face in the shot.
And I photoshopped my face onto his face, and it looks fucking funny.
Thank you. Midnight, the Stars, and You.
You've always been there. You're always the caretaker.
These types of songs from this era fit great for any horror movie. They just add that creep factor to it.
Yep. I love it.
Because like you could play it and you could slow it down and it sounds really good, creepy.
Overlook Hotel, July 4th ball, 1921. Wow.
Boy, they're really dressed for a summertime ball.
Yeah, I thought it was New Year's for a minute.
I thought so too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could just be for the movie.
Sure.
Could be something else. And ladies and gentlemen, that is The Shining, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall.
See the credits here with the guy's name?
Oh, yeah. Let's see if that guy, Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly we're looking for. We're looking for Jim Kelly. I think it was, who was it? It was Unintentional Media or Unmastered Media. I forget. It'll be in the under crew. Might take a moment. But yeah, we'll see if we can see his name, Mr. Jim Kelly. If his name is Jim Kelly in here. Maybe he went by something else. True. I don't know. Maybe he went by, I don't know. But yeah, a fantastic film. I'm glad we finally did it. It was fun to discuss it with you and talk about the shots and the layers and it's just a great horror movie. It's a film that it's a film that you watch all the time because you feel like you're watching to figure it out, but you never do. I mean, you think you do, but because you never have an answer and you'll never have a definitive answer, it's one of those movies that just is timeless in that way, that you always kind of watch it to feel like, oh, am I going to figure it? It's kind of like Michael Myers. Like The Shining is like Michael Myers. I don't mean The Shining is like Halloween. I mean, one of the draws to the character of Michael Myers is the anonymity, the ambiguity, right? And it's the mysteriousness. You always think that you're going to Cameron second unit, friend second unit, gaffers. Digital just Jack now, dubbing mixers, assistant makeup. Oh, Peter, Steve, James, Jim, go jump. Don't see it. Not there. I'm skimming through.
I know. Same with me. There it is.
Head rigger. Jim Kelly. There he is. Yep.
Right,
head rigger.
Cool.
Jim Kelly. Head rigger. Yeah. Head rigger.
Very
no,
cool.
it was a term. That's right.
What was his name? What was the guy's name?
Is he still watching? I don't know if he's still watching. Can't remember now. But we saw your uncle or your great uncle or whoever it was. Very cool indeed. Very cool indeed. Yeah, rigger was. I know what that is. That's you don't. Oh, maybe they're
is
still
that a
called
job that people are doing today, or don't not really?
Well, the job would still be done today, but I don't know if they're called head riggers. That might have evolved, but maybe not. Maybe not. It'd be part of the set design department or the I don't know if it's part of lighting and grip or if it's part of the set. I have to look. Anyway, Very cool indeed. Very cool indeed. And thank you to the super chats that did come in. We appreciate that very much. And that's perfect. It's almost 9 o'clock. So that's perfect. That's we're not going to be around. We kind of have to skedaddle because Tony's got to get up early tomorrow. But thank you to our great moderators, of course, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to the super chat questions that came in. Apologies we couldn't get to some questions today, but The Shining is a long movie, and I'm glad we finally tackled it. You guys are amazing. You know you are. Tony, any last things you want to say?
No, this was fun.
This was great, man.
We'll be back next week with Halloween Resurrection.
That's right. We'll be back with Halloween Resurrection, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and then we'll be watching Freddy's Dead, and all in one night. All in one night. No. Obviously, we're just kidding. Have a great. Cody Snyder goes harder to the paint. $5 says for this kick-ass community, rocking it as always. Thank you, Cody. Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Have a great rest of your week, folks, and we will talk to you soon. Cheers.